And so it became the legendary broadcast standard that is Jon and Jim. Are they serious about this? Not like Morrow and Cronkite are worried. It's the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim. Your source for the latest news and analysis for all things San Diego sports. And for those occasionally offended by the guys.
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Now, as they start another year together, it's John Schaefer and Jim Russell.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 1 of Jon and Jim. We have made it to a 3rd year anniversary together, the three of us, me and you and Brent. And I just put on social media, Jim, most people didn't expect 3 days. Most people were me and you.
I didn't expect 3 hours.
I really did. I really, really didn't. Now, someone said, man, time. Actually, it was Ben Fadden talking Friars. Shout out, Ben. He said, time flies. And I said, actually, it feels like it's gone very slow.
Yeah, it feels like it's 20 years.
It feels like our 30-year anniversary. We have made it to a
because we're doing 4 hours now.
That's right. We have even more time.
True,
they wanted 4 hours. So we appreciate anyone that has supported the show. We've kind of done it in a unique way. We said we're just going to talk more San Diego sports than anyone else. I mean, we are really going to wrap our arms around San Diego, whether it's Padres or Aztecs or whatever's going on in the city. San Diego FC, we'll talk with their sporting director actually coming up at 2:30. So that's been the way we've carved it out. We've tried to be truthful and honest and opinionated and be there for San Diegans. We appreciate your support. I mean, we're not here for 3 years without your support. I don't know if we're here for another 3 years if you don't continue to support the show. So, Jim, happy anniversary, man. I feel like I'm part of, like, you got it married last year, and we've been married for 3 years.
I was talking to Aaron about this last night. I said, I go, hey, tomorrow's me and John's 3-year anniversary, but we've really been together for like 5 years.
I know.
And she goes, are you married to the guy? Like what? That's the way I phrased it was like, yeah, we've been together for 3 years, but really it's been 5 years. When someone says they're married, like we've been married for 20 years, but we've been together for 25 years.
It's so funny you say that because I was looking through my phone. On your phone, you can like search for photos with people. Like it'll show Jones, and then I click on him and it shows me all the photos.
How many photos of me and you are in there?
I probably have 100.
Okay.
But the first photo I have of me and you is the iHeartRady Children's Festival from Rady Hospital.
I have that too,
2019 when we filled in for Darren and Marty. Mm-hmm. But then we started the wrap-up show during COVID. So the summer of 2020, me and you were working every day together.
Every day, yeah.
And then our former program director, Brian Long, took a shot on Jon and Jim. He's like, basically against his judgment. He's like, I don't think it's going to work. I'm like, well, either do I, but what other choice do you have?
True.
And that was 3 years ago today that the show launched, January 10th, 2022. I think that's right.
Yes. Yeah. It feels longer though, because 3 years, like we really started going together, me and you, on just like talking on the radio together and YouTube and podcast in 2020 during the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah, it's 2022.
That's when I kind of say, all right, that's when we started, even though the official Jon and Jim show didn't start until 2022. So
2022.
That's how I view it. 2022, we got married. We started hanging out in 2020.
So weird.
And
it's getting weird.
And we've been together ever since.
We appreciate your support, seriously, and we wouldn't be here. I mean, that's the business that we're in. Like, if you don't support the show, we're not going to be here. So we appreciate your support. We're going to try to continue to do it by speaking to San Diegans first and foremost and covering San Diego sports. And speaking of which, there are a few things we want to get to here today. I want to hear from Ken Rosenthal and react. You saw the article from Ken and Dennis today.
I did, yeah.
Basically, what they wrote is what we've been discussing for all 5 days this week since we found out about the lawsuit.
Yes. Now, I will say a lot of the article was about, relaying comments from Sheil and Matt. Not a lot of opinion in there.
No, it was like recapping the last week.
But there was things in there that were interesting.
Well, okay, here's what was in there if you missed it, because Ken Rosenthal is going to lay it out. And he's going to lay it out from the perspective of, will the infighting going on with the Padres organization impact their ability to land free agents? We'll listen and react.
I don't know. And I don't know that players really care about the infighting if they're getting the offers. But what have the Padres done this offseason? They haven't done anything. Now, maybe that's just the normal course of their offseason. That's what their front office would tell you. that, hey, opportunities have not arisen the way they have in the past. They have certain obligations. Obviously, they were never going to go too crazy this offseason because of all the money that is already on the books. The question is, with the lawsuit between Peter Seidler's widow and his brothers going on, how does that affect the perception of the team with people like Roki Sasaki, people who might be considering extensions with them, like a Jackson Merrill? How does this affect the team long-term? Does it ultimately result in the team getting sold? These are the questions we raised in the article, and there are no answers right now. The Padres will tell you, and they told us, that things are normal, that they're operating business as usual, that in their opinion, at least some of the people there and some of the people within the industry that we spoke to as well, that the claims made by Peter Seidler's widow, Sheila Seidler, are not very meritorious. All right. Now, that's their opinion. She, of course, would have a different opinion. That's why she's suing. But if that's the case, and then ultimately the brothers retain control of the team and it is business as usual, then really, I wouldn't say much ado about nothing, because there's certainly concerns here, but it becomes a lesser issue. There are people, though, in the industry, one agent we quoted in particular, who said, hey, man, nothing good ever comes out of something like this. And I would suggest that is true. You go back to the Angelos family in Baltimore. They had a similar circumstance. Remember, one brother and Angelos's widow suing, or yes, another brother. She was his wife at the time. Peter was still alive. And that ultimately, I don't know if it affected the operation of the team, but that team wasn't spending money anyway. This team has been spending money. This team has really built a tremendously successful franchise in the last 5 or so years. And you wonder now, what does this mean? Are they going to trade Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz? Are they going to hang on to these guys and try to win with them? We don't know. And those are baseball decisions that might be independent of this entirely. At the same time, these are all fair questions to ask. What is going to be the ultimate effect here of this lawsuit and this infighting between the people who are related to Peter Seidler?
But Jon and Jim, you're overreacting. I mean,
Nothing's
it's basically
wrong.
everything we've said for 5 days. I mean, I really think we've covered this thing from the right angles, which is, will it impact their pursuit of free agents? Roki Sasaki, what does it mean for their long-term commitment to winning? What about their payroll? These are the things that Ken and Dennis Lin laid out today at The Athletic.
Well, he also said in there, according to the Padres, everything's operating as normal.
Yes.
That's a lie. I'm sorry. Like, I can see right through that. That is just 100% PR speak, because why would you have anything go on record of anybody inside the organization being like, you know what? Actually, it's a dumpster fire in here.
Well, good point. What else are you going to say?
Yeah, everything's great.
Oh, we are completely paralyzed to do anything.
Yeah, you have
We're going to start A-ballers in left field.
Yeah, I mean, I bet a lot of money if you ask people in that organization off the record about things,
right?
It would not be
all roses.
Everything's fine. We're operating as normal.
We said this yesterday. It's like, on one hand, there's a lot of good things still going on with the organization. The season ticket membership thing is a good thing for the organization. So on one hand, you're like, wow, maybe everything is fine. Their support is still where it was last year and the year before. But organizationally, they're one of very few teams in baseball that has done nothing. Now, I can argue the merits of that if Roki Sasaki ends up here. Mm-hmm. And that starts the flurry of activity from the Padres. Or maybe they don't land him and it starts the flurry of activity. But, I mean, it's getting late. Like, at some point, to make actual, like, you're going to have to get some stuff done here. It's January 10th. Their season ended against LA when? In the middle of October. You're talking 3+ months of no activity at all. We know they're going to make baseball moves. It's going to happen again. Mm-hmm. But if they don't land Roki Sasaki, it only adds further fuel that the organization isn't conducting business as usual, because they haven't done anything all offseason. Then if they were waiting for Roki, they better land Roki Sasaki.
So, the big news yesterday in Padres land was about the arbitration cases, right? And Michael King did not settle. The Padres and Michael King did not settle. This potentially could go to arbitration. We found out today they're a little under $2 million apart.
Yeah,
$1.5 million apart. That's kind of ridiculous. What if you're not going to get something done over $1.5 million? And Kevin reported that while the Padres would like to lock up Michael King, and yeah, I would like to win $1 million tomorrow, the sides have not discussed a contract extension, and there are multiple challenges towards that end. Those hurdles include the team's need to stay under the competitive balance tax threshold in 2025 and the lack of comparable pitchers by which to base King's worth. Here's King's worth. He was the fifth best pitcher in the National League last year?
What do you mean lack of comparable pitchers? There's a ton of people you could compare him to. A year and a half of starting pitcher experience, right? 50 starts into your career. What are your numbers? Or 40 starts into your career. I'll tell you what, his numbers are going to hold up pretty well with those that have about 40 starts of big league experience in their careers. Yeah. Like his numbers are going to hold up really well.
Yeah, the competitive balance tax conversation that is had every day, it's nauseating at times because most fans don't care about that, nor should they. It should be about, can you lock this guy up long term? Can you get him here and make sure that he doesn't leave after this season? Because you got real problems if that happens.
I think the reason people care is because they trust what people like Kevin Acee and Dennis Lin are writing. And what they're writing is they're not going over the number. So I agree with you. We shouldn't worry about it. But unfortunately, we have to because we know this number, whatever it is, they're not going over. So all of the moves are centered around that number. Can they stay under it? And how are they going to do it and remain really competitive? We're not just looking to be like quasi-competitive. They got to be really competitive in this division.
Yeah. And would I care if they went over the CBT?
No, I don't care.
I could care less. We've said that multiple times here. Like, the only thing that matters is winning. That's it. So get it done, but you're right. If you have multiple people reporting like hard line in the sand, they are not going over that CBT, then we have to talk about, all right, what are the moves that they have to make or can they make? And when they make these moves, are they under that CBT threshold that they are so adamant that they're not going over?
Does the fact that the Padres and King did not come to a resolution hurt their ability to keep him long-term? We'll get into that on the other side. Plus, Tyler Heaps, he's San Diego FC's sporting director. They will start preseason camp on Monday, and he will join us coming up at 2:30. We're about a month out from the debut of San Diego FC in regular season matches in MLS. So he'll join us at 2:30. We're covering Aztec basketball at 3 with Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal. Big one tomorrow. We're talking about the NFL postseason with Cynthia Freeland coming up on the show. It's the 3-year anniversary of Jon and Jim. We've got giveaways for you. Stay with us.
3 is a magic number.
It sure is, as we celebrate the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760.
All right, back with you on Jon and Jim. Wow. People went all out for this show today.
I didn't even go all out.
I know you didn't.
I didn't. Did you buy me a present?
No, but I told you it was our 3-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. All right, so the Padres are reportedly $1.5 million off with Michael King, all right? Still prior to the arbitration process, but they didn't come to terms. Does the fact that they haven't come to terms impact their ability to keep King long-term, in our opinion?
It doesn't help if they don't get something done before his arbitration. I'm not talking about extension. Definitely. I'm talking about just an agreement on a 1-year deal and not have to go to an arbitration hearing.
Okay, so but what if they're just working on an extension right now?
Well, Kevin says that they're not.
Okay, well there's the answer to that. So they're not working on an extension, and they're not working on an extension, by the way, for Jackson Merrill.
No,
that's being reported. Which okay, you still have a lot of time there, understood. But you don't have a lot of time with Michael King. He hits free agency, he's a free agent. Simple as that.
And guess what? If he has another good year, that price tag only going up.
Just going up. That's a good point. So, yeah, I think first order of business then, if they're not extension, it's 1.5 million. I said yesterday, $3 million. You get it. We're really going to go to arbitration over $1.5 million. From a baseball organization perspective, from anyone else, this team's operating with $200 million. So 0.5% of her payroll. Out of $200 million, $1 million is 0.5%. We're going to go to arbitration with this guy to impact 0.5% of her annual payroll for the team.
Yeah, I'm kind of over it in the sense of like worrying about like the money. Like, just get it done. You know, it shouldn't. You want to keep the guy. Those are the reports. He's a really good pitcher for you. He's one of the best in the National League. He was one of the best in the game last year. Keep him. Like, what are we doing here? You know, like, get it done. And if you don't get it done, you're going to run into some problems. You know, like you say all the time, play stupid games with stupid prizes. If you don't lock up Michael King, you know, you're going to run into some serious issues down the road, especially if you don't have Roki. Like, Roki, it would be a huge get for you in many, many ways. One of them, the on-field, is that you have a guy locked in for a minimum of 6 years and potentially got. But we all know in baseball, you can't just have one of those. You need multiple. Michael King, in my opinion, last year, he pitched really well in the postseason, and he pitched amazing in the regular season. You could argue he's their best pitcher. So get it done. You know, it's in. I think we can both agree that if Michael King and Dylan Cease went to the open market right now, Dylan Cease would get a larger contract than Michael King, right?
Yes, he will.
So in that scenario, if you're so worried about money, and money's now the ultimate thing that everyone's worried about in the organization, then you choose the guy that's going to be less cost effective than the other guy. When in reality, like, the guy that's less cost effective might be better.
Better option. Yeah, again, he's got less innings on his arm. He's still relatively young. If you can get him for a reasonable price, it just makes too much sense. And he seems like the last player you would want to go to arbitration with. If this is a guy you want here for 4 years, why would you go to arbitration with him? That wouldn't seemingly make it easier to get a long-term deal done. So I'm with you. I think if it's $1.5 million, I mean, what are we talking about here? And what is the dollar figure? We just saw Dylan Cease got $13.75 million. King's getting less.
Yeah.
So just figure this thing out. To have Cease and King both making sub $14 million when you see the price of free agent pitching. Now, they're not free agents, so they do make less money. But we see the price of free agent pitching. Every pitcher is $15 million plus. There's guys 20, 25. Sean Manaea, $25 million per year. You get Michael King in here for $10 million. Okay, you think he's worth 8.5? He wants 10. It's a bargain either way.
Especially if you are contemplating trading Dylan Cease, I'm not good at math, but if you settled with Michael King for what he was asking for, which is, I think, lower than 10, right?
I don't know the number.
I think it was around like 8 something. That's just for argument's sake. Let's just say 8.5. All right.
Okay. And the Padres are offering 7.
Yeah. So let's just say they settle and they get out to 8.
Okay.
Okay. And and Dylan Cease this upcoming year on a 1-year deal is at 13.7.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You trade Dylan Cease. How much do you save, John?
If you trade Dylan Cease?
Yeah.
13.7.
Well, I'm talking about like comparable to Michael
if
King.
he makes 8,
yeah,
5.7.
Okay. So you trade Dylan Cease, if that's the route you want to go, and you have a pitcher who you could argue numbers wise, like might be better than Dylan Cease in some aspects for $5 million cheaper.
Right. He's $5 million cheaper, but the actual math there, like, let's walk through that. If they trade Dylan Cease, they're saving $13.7 million. Like, if they trade Dylan Cease, depends on what they take back. If there's major league ready players that they take back, but if they trade a $13.7 million contract, they're getting $13.7 million in relief.
That too.
There's that part of it too. Now, I would think they take on major league talent in return. So you're not truly getting 13.7, but I don't know. I read that article too, and they were like, listen, there's some speculation that they want to keep Luis Ariz for the year, as I think they should. I just wonder from AJ Preller's perspective, if he's sitting there with an Excel spreadsheet and he has to lower payroll, what is the move that he would prefer to, what's the lesser of the evils? If it's Cease, Ariz, Suarez, Cronenworth is the lesser of the evils, if you can move it. But you know what I mean? Like, he's probably sitting there saying, I got a tough decision to make. I have to make a decision. No.
Right.
So which of the decisions am I willing to make?
I kind of feel like every conversation we talk about with Dylan Cease, I want to preface by saying, me and John don't want to trade Dylan Cease. I wouldn't trade him.
No, I wouldn't.
Like, that's just like, hey, we have a guy that finished 4th in Cy Young. Yeah, trade him.
Right.
Because we can't re-sign him at the end of the year. Are you trying to win or not? So we do not want to trade Dylan Cease, but it's going to probably come down to them potentially maybe trading Dylan Cease. Now, there are reports out there that they might end up keeping Dylan Cease and Michael King this upcoming season. Okay.
Right.
I would love that. If you land Roki, amazing. Like, we've talked about a rotation with Dylan Cease, Michael King, Roki, and Yu Darvish in it. And I love that.
Right.
But,
all right.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Nor do I. So we'll step aside from the conversation for a moment. Tyler Heap, sporting director, San Diego FC. They start training camp on Monday. They're a month away from the regular season. He'll join us on the other side. We're talking Aztec basketball tomorrow at New Mexico at 3 p.m. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, will join us at 5 p.m. We're here until 6. It's the 3rd anniversary show of Jon and Jim. Stay with us.
All right, this update's brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. The college football semifinals last night. Notre Dame beat Penn State. They're moving on to the national championship game where they will take on the winner of tonight's semifinal matchup between Ohio State and Texas. That game kicks off at 4:30 p.m. The Aztecs take on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. tip time. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. And following that game, NFL playoff action right here on the station. Chargers taking on the Houston Texans. The fully electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz is innovation on a magnificent scale, available with the epic 56-inch touch-sensitive Hyperscreen. The vehicle is all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQS.
Welcome back to the third anniversary of Jon and Jim on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760.
All right, it's hard to believe San Diego FC, San Diegans have been excited for this moment. We're about a month away. I mean, that's really incredible. From the start of the regular season, the debut of San Diego FC in Major League Soccer. We have Tyler Heaps back with us, sporting director for SDFC, and they're going to start training for the upcoming season at the San Diego FC Performance Center on Monday. Tyler, what has this winter been like? Thanks for joining us, and is everyone ready to rock and roll come Monday?
I think we're ready to go. It's been a whirlwind, I'll tell you that much. I'm sick of looking at whiteboards, and I'm looking forward to getting actual players in-house. They're all traveling in the market. Most of them are already here. Some of them get in today, and tomorrow and Sunday we got medicals out here at the new Performance Center, which is unbelievable. We had a blessing ceremony today with Saquon's tribe, and we're really looking forward to getting everybody in-house and getting them running.
What aspect of your team are you most excited about so far? You know, on paper, because we haven't seen anything on the field yet. But what are you most excited about for this team this upcoming season?
I think we got a good balance. I think we've got a good balance between players that have proven they can be professionals at a very high level, and then we've got some really exciting young talents as well that we're looking forward to giving an opportunity and hopefully continuing to develop. So that's probably the biggest excitement for me. Look, it's easy to say guys like Irving and guys like Marcus who are probably going to score our goals, but I also think that we have a really good balance in terms of the defenders that we've brought in, ball playing versus defending first. We've got a good, young, exciting goalkeeping group. So I'm really looking forward to getting them out on the pitch and seeing what the strengths and weaknesses are, and then trying to fill the last couple of holes with the remaining players we've got left to go.
By the way, single match tickets are on sale now, and this is for also exhibition matches, Club America, Cholos, Snapdragon Stadium, available now. SanDiegoFC.com/tickets. SanDiegoFC.com/tickets. We all know about Chucky Lozano's impact on field, on pitch, so to speak. What impact do you hope that he plays for the group overall off field in the development of the team?
I think, well, first let me touch on your ticket one, because I think what a start we got for San Diego to see. I mean, obviously we have the home opener on the first against St. Louis, and then MLS didn't throw us any softballs after that. We got Columbus coming here, one of the best teams in MLS in the last couple of years. Then we have LAFC, and then we got Seattle. So we've got a really, really exciting group of games to kick off at Snapdragon, and we're really looking forward to getting some of the fans there. And to touch base on Irving, look, he's been a star, right? He's proven that he can win at every single level. And I think what I'm most looking forward to with Irving is that he's the most down-to-earth guy ever. He could obviously have a massive ego, and he could think very highly of himself, but he is truly, really, really excited to be here. I think you could see that in his press conference whenever he got emotional. He knows this is a big step for him. He knows he has a lot of expectations with obviously the price tag that he'll come in on, but he's also really looking forward to getting here into San Diego, settling here with his family, and then getting to work. I think that's what we're really looking forward to, is how his work ethic and how his obviously career that he's went through, he can rub off on some of these other guys here and hopefully create a really good culture.
So you've gone through an expansion draft, you've gone through the super draft, and in the super draft, taking a midfielder, Manu Dua. Tell us about him. And I know he's very young, but what can fans expect his timeline to be to eventually, make his way to play here at Snapdragon Stadium for you guys?
Yeah, look, he'll stand out whenever you guys see him on the field. He's this tall, elegant center midfielder. He stands at about 6'3", 6'4". He's really good on the ball. He tells me that his favorite player is Sergio Busquets, and he definitely tries to play like him. He's very good in possession. He's good at passing between the lines, and he can cover ground. He's got these long legs where he can go and win the ball back for us. And he's somebody that we think has really, really high potential. It's obviously why we took him at 1. We had some offers for some teams to come and trade for the number 1 pick, and we felt very strongly about Manu. But look, the timeline, we won't rush anything. First and foremost, he needs to become obviously and understand the professional game. The NCAA schedule is extremely difficult, extremely different in the professional game. So it's going to be a lot. He's already been through some gym sessions with our staff over at SDSU in this last week, and we need to get him stronger. We need to get him a bit more agile, and we need to make sure that obviously he doesn't get injured first and foremost. And once we have that base, we think he can really kick on.
Again, Tyler Heaps is San Diego FC sporting director. If you're looking for single game tickets, they're on sale now to see San Diego FC beginning March 1st at home against St. Louis City. SanDiegoFC.com/tickets. Again, SanDiegoFC.com/tickets. Tyler, can you share the importance and what it represents to be playing the exhibition matches against clubs in Liga MX, including against the Cholos?
Yeah, I think they're both fantastic, and I think League's Cup will also be fantastic. I think that's why this league continues to grow. Is it continues to obviously open up, and those interleague games are extremely important because those teams play different than MLS teams, if that makes sense. So it gives our guys a little bit different challenge. It allows us to think a little bit different, and I'm looking forward to welcoming their fans as well into our house. We're obviously in a city that's extremely diverse, and we're very close down to the border, and I'm really looking forward to seeing those types of games where maybe it's not full San Diego FC crowd, but I do think it'll be a really good atmosphere and then also a good showcase for the sport of soccer or football, wherever we can obviously get different fan groups out and celebrate the game in a capacity, give our guys, some of the guys maybe that aren't playing all the time, also another look, and being able to obviously welcome clubs like Club America who have been some of the most successful in the world of football.
So we've said, you open up training sessions on Monday, this upcoming Monday, at the brand new FC Performance Center. How important is it to have like a state-of-the-art center to develop these players for you guys? I know the Right to Dream Academy is something really big for this club, but have you been there yet, seen the fully finished product, or is Monday your first time there when everything is fully finished?
I'm sitting in my office now, and what I can say is that it's truly remarkable.
Awesome.
Obviously, we owe it to ownership. They've invested quite a bit in this, but we have no excuses coming to work every single day. I think this is at the top, if not the top, in North America in terms of this sport. Just the status of the gym, of the pitches, the grass looks pristine. It's being cut every single day. The locker room looks amazing. And so it is still a bit of a construction site because it truly is a campus here. We're not just building a performance center. We're also renovating rooms, and we're going to have dorm rooms. We have some of the players obviously out here living right now. But it is not only the facility itself, but also the land that we're on and where we are. It's surrounded by mountain drops. I think we've been here since Monday of this week. We're trying to obviously get it as ready as possible, but we'll have no excuses coming to work every single day. And it's an amazing place that we can come and compete.
Final one for me, Tyler, is just about the upcoming schedule and the timeline. So, yeah, you'll start training on Monday. We know the first match is on the road against LA Galaxy, February 23rd, but take us through what happens from this upcoming Monday until getting ready for that first match.
Yeah, we get straight into it. We'll have games pretty much every week. We'll play 5 external opponents, two of them here, 3 of them at Coachella whenever we travel there. But we're looking at kind of like a week cadence. The first week is getting guys in, and obviously they've enjoyed themselves in off season, so making sure that we create the foundations and the base. The next 2 weeks are really about learning the style of play and making sure obviously we can play together. During that week, we play 2 USL opponents, and then we go to Coachella, and it's the first time our fans get to see us. They can actually come to those games. Those games are ticketed. We'll play 3 MLS opponents. We'll play both of the New York teams whenever we're there. And then obviously, like you said, we go up the road and we play the MLS Cup champions, and what a way to start. It'll be an amazing opportunity for us to really see a measuring stick of where we're at and the team that we have, and we'll look to continue to improve throughout that.
We can't wait. We're excited here in San Diego, certainly on San Diego Sports 760 and Jon and Jim. Again, San Diego FC has single match tickets on sale now at SanDiegoFC.com/tickets. Can't wait to see the atmosphere coming up this year at Snapdragon Stadium. And Tyler Heaps, appreciate you hopping on today, and best of luck moving forward as you get the team ready for the opener.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having us, guys.
All right, great stuff from Tyler Heaps, San Diego FC. I want to see the Performance Center.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of it, but like obviously it's not when it was fully done yet.
Right.
But when you have good facilities, that's a big thing to have if you're a professional franchise, like, football, having a good practice facilities, everything. Like, I always remember the Chargers down the street here, their practice facility was crap. Like,
right. Opposite of state of the art.
I mean, how many years here was discussed about upgrading that place? It just is ridiculous. And so to have a state of the art facility, and we thought, San Diego State, like getting Snapdragon Stadium, like how big that is, right? So
without Snapdragon Stadium, there's no San Diego FC.
Yeah. So it's everything, and I'm excited to see that.
I am as well. All right. Great to catch up with Tyler Heap, San Diego FC. Coming up at 3 p.m., Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. Huge game in the Mountain West tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll have pregame coverage beginning at 9 a.m. It's San Diego State and the University of New Mexico. We'll get into that with Jeff Grammer coming up at 3 p.m. and also at 5 p.m. Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network gets us ready for Wild Card Weekend in the NFL. Don't go anywhere. Third anniversary edition of Jon and Jim.
Congrats to Jon and Jim. It's the 3rd anniversary of the show, where the suggested gift is leather. Never mind. Back to the show.
All right, the Aztecs on the road tomorrow morning. They'll take out New Mexico at the Pit. Pre-game coverage at 9 a.m. Myself and Ben Fletcher, Ted Leitner's the call at 10 a.m. right here in your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, will join us at 3 p.m. to get into tomorrow's game. It's big for both teams. New Mexico's 5-0. In the league, San Diego State is 3-1. They both could use it. It will not be easy. I haven't seen the line yet. My guess is San Diego State's probably going to be a 1-2 point underdog tomorrow.
My concern is the game's at 10 a.m.
Right.
Now it's
That's
11
true.
a.m. in Albuquerque, but body clocks, all that stuff that matters. So I'm assuming this week has been a lot of early practices for the Aztecs to get ready for Saturday.
Brent just told me through the headphones that it's a push right now, which would make sense. I mean, San Diego State has been really good. New Mexico has been outstanding in league.
Siri literally told me to flip a coin.
Oh, she said
Yes.
flip a coin. So we'll see what the actual number is. It'll be out at some point. San Diego State, New Mexico, you're right. It's early, 10 a.m. So join us, breakfast and basketball right here on San Diego Sports 760.
Are you and Fletch bringing us donuts? And by us, I mean me.
Probably not.
No
I
breakfast.
I gotta be here at 9 a.m. I would tell me where to go. To go to Randy's? Will they be open?
No, they'll be closed.
They're
Donut
not open
places
at
don't.
9 a.m.?
Yeah, they don't open in the morning.
What
No
you
one
could
needs-
do, very simple. You just go to your maps and you type in donuts,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows you.
And then
where
what?
the
Did they
donut
just come to
shops
my
are.
phone?
Yes, John. You could DoorDash donuts here.
They come
or
out of
Uber
your phone.
Eats.
I don't know how to do that.
Are you serious?
Correct.
Yeah, don't do that. You're gonna pay $50 for 6 donuts.
You haven't DoorDash or Uber Eats like at
Ever.
all? Ever?
In my life.
Ever?
Never.
Me and Aaron do it like kind of
Every
a
hour?
lot. Like not all the time, but there are
What-
times
What's
when
he gonna DoorDash? Tofurkey?
Yeah, it's true too. Like, what am I gonna buy?
salads. I don't know.
Salad. I'm gonna order a salad. Some guy drives up with a salad.
Yes, I remember my first time using DoorDash, which apparently would be
Apparently, I
your
haven't
friend.
done.
Yeah, you've not done it yet. It's
If they
Hey,
sponsor
make
the
me
show,
a salad and then drive around with it in the front seat of your car for 30 minutes
Right.
and then drop it off.
I mean, everybody used DoorDash, so I don't know what you guys
Soon.
are. Okay.
I'm gonna get to it
All right.
soon. All right. You know how one of the staples of Jon and Jim for the last 3 years has been Jim's back page, and by staple I mean we've done it for 3 years. Nobody's ever mentioned it.
No. Pause.
Actually, yeah.
Yesterday you said
JD Wicker.
you said there's not one part of the show that I get more interaction on than the back page.
Right. I mean, it was only 2 people that interacted with it. It was
But
JD Wicker
Still.
and it was another employee at San Diego State.
Okay.
So that was pretty good.
Darnay's interacted.
He has.
A lot of people in the chat have
Hey,
interacted.
Darnay, where's the text? Hey, congratulations on your 3-year show.
Yeah, bro. He knows if he texts us, we're gonna say come on the show.
Hey, Fadden, where's the congratulations? Hey,
Who?
congratulating everyone else.
Who? Oh yeah, yeah. You're just congratulating every other show in town.
But what are we,
and
chopped
posting all
liver?
their links to their YouTube channels, except for Jon and Jim, who's the only show in town that mentions you and doesn't give you crap. Well, we give you crap,
we give
but
him crap all the time.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, you know how Jim's back page has been a staple of the show? Well, we introduced John-isms kind of like a week or two ago, but we never got like a open for John-isms
and Jon Indims.
and John-isms. But now we have one, and it makes no sense like you're open.
Oh, perfect.
Let's take a listen.
Now we go into the mind of Jon Schaefer. Meat free. AJ Preller's daily lunch menu.
Started stalking me.
It's time for John-isms.
I told you. Is that like 2 different statements?
Well, hold on.
We need to hear it again.
What?
It didn't make any sense.
I love it, but what? What?
So I'm meat free, and then what's after the AJ Preller?
AJ Preller's lunch.
Apparently, you're stalking AJ Prowler.
I love it.
Now we go into the mind of Jon Schaefer. Meat free. AJ Preller's daily lunch menu.
Started stalking me.
It's time for John-isms.
At first, I thought it said meat freak.
What does it say?
I have no idea.
What is it? What does he
Meat
say?
free.
Meat free.
Meat free.
Meat
He's
free.
not-
As in, he
meat.
doesn't eat meat because he's
Oh,
a
meat
fake
free.
vegan.
Oh,
Meat free.
I thought like meeting someone named Free. I'm like, who's Free?
Thank you, CJ, for putting that together.
I love it actually because
Um,
it's perfect. It encapsulates this entire show.
Yeah, Jim's doesn't make sense anyway.
Here's what You guys know, I talk very little San Diego. Excuse me. I talk a lot of San Diego State. I talk very little Penn State, correct?
Yes.
But
yes,
I am an
yes.
alum, okay?
Yes.
Which is just a fact of the matter. And honestly, I told Jim last night, and I'm not kidding when I say this, I'm an idiot. I should have gone to like Ohio State.
Correct.
Or like Alabama.
Alabama.
Like if you're going to be a college football fan, you don't want to be a Penn State football fan. They're always good, never great. Last night's a perfect example of this. Yeah. They had a college football semifinal game against a very mediocre Notre Dame team. These are two, again, good, not great teams, in my opinion, playing each other, and it played out. It ended up being a great game between two good teams, but not two great teams.
Right.
In my opinion, Penn State won an entire game in a national semifinal without completing a pass to a wide receiver. That is so Penn State, if you follow the history over the last 50 years. But the way this thing ends is a lot like, I joke with Jim off the air, it's a lot like the way the Super Bowl ends. It's like if your team is the Niners, if your team is Penn State, and your season ends like that in such a marquee game, obviously nothing's bigger than the Super Bowl. That was the most marquee game.
In America, yes.
I mean, it's just massive. And here's the funny thing about it. Everyone's always going to remember it like, what a choke. They lost. Where, truthfully, the Niners are in overtime with the Chiefs. That alone is impressive considering how good the Chiefs have been, but everyone remembers how it ends. Penn State, Notre Dame, I mean, Penn State played well enough, but everyone's going to remember their starting quarterback, who was awful yesterday, throwing a pick with 40 seconds left deep in his own end, a terrible, misguided, non-necessary throw. So, like, I think there's some tie-ins there. The way the Super Bowl ended, the way Penn State's season just ended. I thought both games were great games. I think they'll be remembered as great games. You just don't want to be a fan of the teams that lose that type of game.
I didn't want to say anything today on the air because we were texting a little bit last night, and
like,
I waited a good hour 45 after to check in on you. And we get in today, and it just was like, "You okay?" And then it was like
honestly, I'm fine because I'm not. Again, if this was 20 years ago and I'm at, I would have been jumping off things.
Dude, you're nicer than I was. The first thing I said to him today was, "Man, your quarterback effing sucks."
He did too. But here's the thing: at this point, I'm basically a San Diego State alum. Like, I have like an honorary degree.
Right.
I mean, I gave it to myself. So again, it is what it is. 20 years ago, would I've not slept for 3.5 months? Sure. Has Jim slept yet since the Super Bowl ended? No. But it's just, man, is there anything worse than an excruciating loss from your team? Is there anything worse than losing to the Dodgers in Game 5 of an NLDS? Like, seriously. No.
No.
Now, that wasn't a classic game. That wasn't a back and forth. What was the final? 2-0? Two solo home runs. It wasn't awful.
Kike and Teoscar.
Yeah, it wasn't like ridiculous. It was never out of reach.
No,
it was never out of reach. They just didn't score.
Like, the age old question. How it's a stupid question, but if you're going to lose a big game as a fan, how would you want to lose that game? Would you want to get blown out, or would you want to lose in heartbreaking fashion?
Well, that's kind of the point. I don't care if the Niners lost to the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl 31-3. And you know what's happening. You're in the second quarter. It's 21-0. You lost the game.
Like the NFC title game when Brock Purdy gets injured on like the second play
Eagles,
of the game.
Their quarterback was like Christian McCaffrey.
And it's easy to flush it because you're just like, all right, we got our ass kicked.
It's not happening, yeah.
And you just not let it go, but you're not
There's less to dwell on.
You're not sitting up all night thinking about like 2 or 3 different plays that could have changed the game. Like, I can't believe this guy made that throw, or I can't believe he missed this tackle or dropped that ball or whatever. It's like, my team got their ass kicked. So that was it.
Again, you could live through moments that happened in that Niners Super Bowl time and time again, right?
I can.
I mean, there's certain plays that come into your head like, oh my gosh, if this didn't happen, we win the Super Bowl.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
And the same thing happened last night. Yeah. We said it here. There was a dropped walk-in touchdown in the first half.
Then if the Niners just blocked Jones, then they probably score a touchdown.
Anyway, there's my meat free or meat freak take. Some guy on Twitter said I started the fires essentially because I don't eat meat.
Well, we don't.
What?
Yeah, because you're like tofu loving.
You like liberal. Tofu. Like, these fires wouldn't have happened without you. I'm like,
I told him the F.
It's a bit of a stretch.
So,
yeah. All right. Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. He'll join us next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. We'll start with the college football semifinals. Last night, Notre Dame beat Penn State 27-24. They're moving on to the national championship game where they will take on the winner of Ohio State and Texas. That game kicks off at around 4:30 local time. Aztecs take on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. tip time. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And right after the basketball game, NFL playoff action right here on the station as the Chargers take on the Texans. The fully electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz is innovation on a magnificent scale, available with the epic 56-inch touch-sensitive hyperscreen. The vehicle is all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQS.
3 years ago, two men.
The guys did great, and Jim did great, and I'm an idiot.
This is one time to really cash out.
One idea, and so it became the legendary broadcast standard that is Jon and Jim. Are they serious about this? Not like Morrow and Cronkite are worried. It's the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim, your source for the latest news and analysis for all things San Diego sports, and for those occasionally offended by the guys.
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Now, as they start another year together, it's John Schaefer and Jim Russell.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2, Jon and Jim, 3rd anniversary edition, and getting ready for a big one tomorrow in the Mountain West, right here on San Diego Sports 760, 10 a.m. local, 9 a.m. breakfast and basketball pregame coverage will begin right here on 760. Great to welcome in Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal. He has done an amazing job covering the league and University of New Mexico Lobo basketball as well. So, Jeff, welcome back to the show. We appreciate it, and Happy New Year. And you know, this isn't guaranteed for much longer, right? San Diego State and New Mexico, it's been a hell of a series. There have been some incredible games.
They let you guys do this for 3 years now?
I know. It makes no sense. I agree.
Yeah, it's just weird.
It makes zero sense. What do you think, Jeff? I mean, is this kind of like, are we heading towards the end of an era? I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the future? I guess they could play each other in non-conference, but this has been a pretty good series.
Yeah, these two teams will probably play each other. I don't know if it'll be every year. I sure hope it will be. But even then, a little bit will be the luster. It won't be the same when it's not a conference game. And the funny thing is, since I wrote something that was in today's paper, it was posted online last night, and I've had Lobo fans and Aztec fans alike tell me that, BYU, we consider BYU the bigger rival. Well, everybody hated BYU, but they were actually, they were only in the league 10 years out of 26. So if you kind of take the longevity and the meaningful games and the times, look, there's no question what happens outside at the end of Mountain West play, who's had the success. It's San Diego State. New Mexico has not. Nobody in the league has had the success San Diego State has. But in league play, these two teams have actually played an awful lot of meaningful games. I mean, we're talking regular season championships. If I'm not mistaken, the only time that the regular season championship was decided on the final day of the season between the two teams actually playing was that 2014 game, the 1-3-1 game that San Diego State came back and beat the Lobos. But then they've also faced off, 7 times in Mountain West tournament games. And then just so many of these really good kind of exciting regular season games. There just haven't been more meaningful games in the league overall. Now, I get that San Diego State fans love playing UNLV, but it's not as, the games haven't been as meaningful, and frankly, San Diego State beats them too much to make it all that interesting. And as bad as UNM's been for about a decade until about 2 years ago, I'd say, when they kind of started making their comeback, the record in Mountain West play is still 28-25. San Diego State has the edge, so it's still pretty close. And I just think that these two teams have done, and part of it too is the two venues and fan bases. They make this something special. And college basketball has some cool little things around the country. Well, two of those cool little things are Viejas Arena and the Pit, and the two teams that play in those arenas have made some pretty good stories through the years.
Jeff, what do you make of the new look Aztecs team? You haven't seen them in person, I don't think, this year yet. If you have, I'm sorry, but what do you make of this new Aztec team?
Bird's, well, Boyd as well, but Bird is great. I mean, when you got a guy at the wing averaging the steals and the blocks that he does, forget the fact that he can just, I saw him against Air Force have some breakaway, steal the ball and just go dunk it at the other end kind of stuff. I'm just talking steals and I happen to have up on my screen right now looking at, I wanted to see who else in the league was sort of in his realm with, he's top 10 in the league. He's actually top 7 in the league in both steals and blocks. Nobody else is in the top 10. There's only 2 other players in the league who are in the top 20 in both blocks and steals, and they're both Lobos. Nelly Jr. Joseph is number 2 in blocks, number 13 in steals. Donovan Dent's number 13 in blocks, and number 8 in steals. So we got three pretty good defensive players here. The Lobos defense overall isn't very good, but those 2 guys can hold their own a little bit on defense. The Lobos don't play anywhere near the team defense that San Diego State does. But there's some talent in this game, even though San Diego State, you thought, lost the whole roster. Most people thought just lost everybody last year. And the Lobos lost J.T. Toppin, Jalen House, and Jamal Mashburn Jr., and yet they're 5-0 in league play. I know what the schedule is. It's not the toughest schedule that they've ever open league play with, but 5-0 is the first time they've ever done that in Mountain West play, and they've had some pretty good teams. They had a 30-win team that started 0-2 in league play once. So yeah, the 5-0 starts the first time for the Lobos, and some good talent in tomorrow's game.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, you think about New Mexico and Donovan Dent, how good of a player he is. Nelly Jr. Joseph, as capable as he is on the glass, and obviously scoring the basketball as well. What's the key here? I mean, everyone knows San Diego State's got an elite defense. I mean, for New Mexico, again, they've got the crowd, they've got the pit, they've got the elevation, but what's it going to take on floor for New Mexico tomorrow?
So, no, I mean, teams for about 5-6 games now have been trying to stop Donovan Dent and Nelly Jr. Joseph's high pick and roll. And Dutch said this before the season started to me at media days when he said, you're going to be a good team when you're as good as UNM is up the middle. Sounds like a baseball coach talking about, catchers and shortstops and second basemen. But when you're as good when you're as good up the middle as the Lobos are, he said, when you got your point guard and your center lined up, and those are 2 of the best in the West, he said, you're going to be a good team. And if you can get those other 3 guys to be role players that fill in pretty nicely, you're going to be good. Well, Donovan Dent's been as advertised. He's the only player. Well, he had 6 assists on Tuesday, so he actually dropped down to 6.9 assists per game now. But, until Tuesday, he was the only player in the country averaging 19 and 7. Now he's the only player in the country averaging 19 and 6.5 assists. Doesn't sound as good, but he's a great offensive player, and it's all about pick and roll. And him and Nelly Jr. Joseph have a great pick and roll. So I think the key is, while other teams have been trying like crazy to stop Donovan Dent and Nelly Jr. Joseph from killing them in the pick and roll, San Diego State will be successful in doing so. And then the other 3 guys, because a good pick and roll isn't a 2-man game. It's a 5-man game. You got to use all 5 people on the court. But Donovan and Nelly Jr. Joseph haven't really had to do that much. In this game, those other 3 Lobos, they're going to have to make the Aztecs pay if they have a chance. And I know they're going to be able to slow Donovan Dent's pick and roll. You just got to see if some of these other guys can knock down some open shots now.
Who's this game more important for, San Diego State or New Mexico, in your opinion?
Because it's the home game, I would say New Mexico for sure. I don't think that when you look at the computers and all that, it's not going to hurt either team all that much. But this year's Mountain West is going to be, at best, I think, a 3-team league, 3-bid conference. Probably, quite possibly could only be 2 teams. And when it comes down to it, you better not lose home games. You don't want to have a couple slip-ups like unfortunately San Diego State already did, but they did it against the other team right now that I think is going to be in the mix. So I think Utah State, I think San Diego State, and I do think this New Mexico team will be in it till the end, even if they win or lose tomorrow. I think that they're made for a little bit longer of a run than normal. So I think these 3 teams are the best right now, Utah State being the 3rd. And I'd say it's more important for New Mexico because it is on their home court.
Jeff, before you go, there was a lot of conversation about the expanded league schedule, right, to the true round robin, 20 league games. We all know last year 6 teams from the league made the NCAA tournament. That's a conference record. And like you just said, they're not getting anywhere near 6, although it is a very good league this year. What do you make of that decision on the other side of it? We haven't seen it fully play out as of yet, but was it a good decision or not?
I mean, right now it certainly doesn't look like it, but the weird thing play starts. So the ramifications of cutting down that non-conference play, we knew this was going to be a bad even before we got into that 20-game schedule, really. Now, it plays into how teams had to schedule for non-conference. I know that, but the reality is I don't think the league overall did as good, even in an abbreviated non-conference, as they did last year. So I don't think whether like if this year was another 18-game schedule or even a 16-game schedule, I don't think the league overall this year was going to be any better. Now, that said, I think the flexibility probably lends itself to being better if you're 18 or even a 16-game schedule. I get why they did it, but and I was fine with it for the most part. And still it doesn't bother me all that much, but you're really going to make me make a decision. And I would say the flexibility of an 18-game schedule would have been better than what they had this year.
Jeff, we're looking forward to it tomorrow at the Pit. It really has been an incredible series. Last year in the Mountain West title game, I go back to 2 years ago, the Aztecs end up in a national championship game. They lost to New Mexico at home. Their only home loss that year. They won at the buzzer. Remember Lamont at the buzzer to clinch a regular season share at the Pit.
That was his best buzzer beater of the year, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Pit, right?
Was there another one that year?
It was in his top two.
Yeah, it was maybe. I love it. Jeff, appreciate it. Enjoy the game. Thank you for taking time for us.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
All right, great stuff. Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. How about that? Lamont hit a buzzer beater 3 down 1 at the Pit to clinch a regular season share of the Mountain West title, and then later did what he did to FAU. That's a nice little month.
We all know that the buzzer beater in the Final Four was amazing, and it was the best of the buzzer beaters. But which one was the prettiest one?
I still think the Final Four.
Okay.
Because the way he's going the length of the court in such a short period of time, and he gets all the way to the baseline, and that's a pretty pull-up.
Well, he did have a really nice pull-up from 3 straight away.
He was well beyond the three-point line. Remember, he was jogging into the front court.
I think he may have misdribbled, and so then he had to
I think he just kind of missed on the...
He had to pull up from 3, and I don't know if he wanted to do that.
He didn't want to.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he was just like almost walking / jogging into the front court when he needed to be like,
and it was like,
racing.
Oh crap, gotta shoot.
Yeah, it's been a good series. It's been a really good series between San Diego State and New Mexico. It renews tomorrow at 10 a.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. Our pregame coverage will begin at 9 in the morning. We're going to get you ready for a busy NFL and college football weekend on the other side. Plus, Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network will join us at 5 p.m. Also this hour, we have a pair of tickets to give away to see San Diego State and Colorado State Tuesday night at Viejas Arena. We're here until 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim.
3 is a magic number.
It sure is, as we celebrate the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760.
All right, keep up with San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere. Whether you're stepping out of the car or settling in at home, just ask your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play AM 760 or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier to stay connected with your favorite shows like this one. This one. On this 3rd anniversary of this one. San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go. Over the 3 years, we've done a lot of follow us, we'll follow you back. We'll do it today. Follow us on Twitter, @Jon and Jim. We'll follow you back.
Yeah.
It's our 3rd anniversary. Why not? Let's live a little. JON, because I don't have an H in my name.
No.
ANDJIM, because Jim also doesn't have an H in his name.
And while you're at it, when you follow us on all our social medias, go like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And our podcast.
Just do everything you can. Because, again, we want to make sure you're aware of where we are. For example, our podcast relaunched within the last few months.
Yeah.
So you got to search for Jon and Jim in the iHeartRadio app. You're going to find it, or it's on iTunes, I think. TuneIn Radio, Spotify. But if you follow us right now, Twitter or Instagram, JONANDJIM, @Jon and Jim. Like, do it right now. Open up your phone, open Instagram, open Twitter. Follow us right now. We will follow you back. @Jon and Jim. Follow us right now. We will follow you back. So last night started the 5 straight awesome football days, and it started really well for football fans.
We
It was
are
a great game.
1 for 1.
That was great. Among the college football playoff games ever, it's right up there. It was a great game for football fans. It really was. Tonight, we would all sign up for it. I don't know if Texas will hang in the entire game or not. They're about a 6-point underdog. It is Texas, and they're playing in Texas.
Yeah.
So Ohio State's been unbelievable, obviously, since the Michigan loss. Will we make it 2 for 2? And then what are our expectations with Wild Card Weekend? Are we going to get great football games this weekend in the NFL?
We are bound to get at least one good football game this weekend. Just 'cause
NFL
we have
always
so
has
many.
great games.
How many games do we have? We got
6.
Okay.
And this tonight is the 7th.
Over under 1 good game.
Oh, no, over.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. No, I think over-under's got to be 1.5 or 2.5.
I think there will be at least like 2.
Two. Yeah, I agree.
Good games.
I want like 2 great games.
Yeah. Or you know what? Maybe we get the greatest football weekend ever, and every single game is like last night.
Yeah, and that'd be amazing.
Every game is like a kick for the win, or a touchdown, or like a stop for the win.
Yeah, don't hold your breath on that one. You know what? Well, you know what always happens.
Stop, Debbie Downer.
You know what always happens? One day we'll have just great games. Like Saturday, the 2 games will be amazing.
Right.
And then Sunday,
None of
blowout
them are
city.
good.
Yep,
Right.
exactly. Or vice versa. That's the way it always is. If we get good games one day, we get blowouts the next day. We can't seem to just get 2 days of awesome games.
Well, the game in the NFL that is the most lopsided from a point spread perspective, the Ravens are -9.5, okay? And the Bills are -8.5. So the only 2 lines that are more than a touchdown, NFL or college this weekend, Ravens -9.5 at home against the Steelers. Is it just me, or does Lamar Jackson have to be unbelievable this weekend? Can we see a vintage, unbelievable Lamar Jackson?
I'll say this. It's not about this weekend for Lamar.
No, it's about, I agree. They're going to have to win.
He can be average, and as long as they win, it doesn't matter. It's about getting over that hump. He's going to eventually have to face the Bills or the Chiefs. I'm pretty certain in that.
Yeah, unless they're upset.
Exactly.
Right.
Unless the Ravens are upset or the Bills are upset. Because
Ravens are what seed?
Oh, no. So they would go, no. If everything remains chalk, they would go to Buffalo.
Correct. They're the 3 seeds, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if Buffalo got upset by the Broncos this weekend, then the Broncos would go to the Chiefs, and then the Ravens would host. And then if the Ravens win that game, then they would go face
maybe the Arrowhead,
the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
Right.
But either way, the AFC goes through once again, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And for either the Bills or the Ravens, their first Super Bowl, I know the big Super Bowl is the thing, but like their first big Super Bowl game is, can they get over that hump and can they beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead? That's going to be the big test.
You're saying for Baltimore?
Baltimore and Buffalo.
I agree, but for Baltimore, are you saying that there's not even a hurdle to be cleared this weekend against Pittsburgh at home? Isn't Even if they win this game, it's still the same question about Lamar Jackson moving forward.
For both the Bills and the Ravens, at minimum, you got to get to the AFC Championship game.
For both the Bills and the Ravens, yeah. And of course, only one will.
Right. And then one will. If everything
right.
plays out the way we think it's going to play out. It's kind of hard to envision someone other than the Chiefs, Ravens, or Bills making the Super Bowl out of the AFC, right?
Other than the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Bills?
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you said Chiefs and Ravens.
No, I said Chiefs, Ravens, or Bills coming out of the AFC. It's hard to envision any other team besides those three coming out.
Yes. I mean, it's not going to be the Chargers.
Not going to be the Chargers. It's not going to be
It's not going to be the Broncos. Not the Texans. Of course not. They never do anything.
No.
Yeah. All right.
Or the Steelers. No.
In the NFC, the Eagles all of a sudden are 5.5-point favorites. It went from 3.5 to 5.5 against the Packers at home. Bucks are a 3-point favorite over the Commanders at home. I kind of like the Commanders plus the points. What do you feel about that? I like the Commanders plus the points. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I would take the points with Washington. And then Minnesota -3 now. That's because this game moved. This game moved from LA to Arizona, and Minnesota's gotten a couple of points since then. I think that's a huge advantage for the Minnesota Vikings, this game moving. Because I think they go in immediately like, why are we on the road? We had a 14-3 season. It's a letdown spot. We're on the road. Now they're not really on the road. Both of the teams are on the road.
Well, they're on the road still.
Both of the teams are, though.
Even if they were at SoFi, it's not like SoFi has this amazing home field advantage for the Rams.
True, but JB Long said that 90% of ticket buyers were like LA County when he joined us this week. He said it was supposed to be good home field advantage.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I feel like that's a huge win for the Vikings. It's not the Rams, locker room. It's not the Rams home field. It's not the Rams sleeping in their own bed, unfortunately, because of the fires. I just feel like that's a huge win. Again, unfortunately, because of the circumstance. I just think from a football perspective, it's a big win for Minnesota.
I'll say this about Minnesota. I thought that they were going to beat the Lions last week, and I was completely wrong.
They looked awful.
And if I was a Vikings fan, I would be nervous as hell about Sam Darnold. Because Sam Darnold did not look good in that game. And that was a playoff game.
Right.
That was, all right, our playoff start right now. And he looked really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam Darnold versus Matt Stafford, a guy who won a Super Bowl versus a guy that has been considered a bust in his career and now has had this revival this season. That's not a close quarterback matchup, in my opinion.
Did you see Pro Football Talk said that if they get out of the wild card round, but Darnold struggles, they might turn to Daniel Jones?
No.
That doesn't make any sense, right? Did you see that tweet?
No, I didn't. But
it's a real tweet.
It's a dumb tweet.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I thought.
Stupid.
Pro Football Talk.
Hey, congratulations. Driving up clicks.
Right.
Not going to happen.
So the tweet was, okay, Vikings quarterback Daniel Jones likely will be the emergency option for the wild card round. If the Vikings advance and if starter Sam Darnold struggles, could Darnold be in danger of being pulled for Jones in the divisional round? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, not happening.
At that point, Sam Darnold would be 15-3 with the Vikings as a starter this year. And now
could you imagine Jones sitting your starting quarterback that got you to the 15-3 record in the
for
division
Daniel
round,
Jones?
For Daniel freaking Jones.
It's not like you have Patrick Mahomes.
Who hasn't played in what?
All year.
8 weeks?
Yeah, it's been like half a year.
I think I'd have more faith if they trotted out J.J. McCarthy and his half of Achilles
right,
go out
Daniel
there.
Jones. Yeah, it's a good point. All right. Well, again, intriguing weekend of football across both college and the NFL. And it continues tonight with Ohio State and Texas. We'll get back to the Padres on the other side. What Ken Rosenthal had to say earlier today about the Padres ownership and the infighting. Could it affect the Padres as this offseason continues? Plus, Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network with much more at 5 p.m. And Aztec basketball tickets. We'll give them away this hour on Jon and Jim.
This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. San Diego State takes on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. tip time. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. We have NFL playoff action on the station. Following that game was the Chargers take on the Texans. Notre Dame last night beat Penn State to advance to the national championship game. They'll take on the winner of Ohio State and Texas tonight. Kickoff in that game is at 4:30. The fully electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz is innovation on a magnificent scale, available with the epic 56-inch touch-sensitive Hyperscreen. The vehicle is all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQS.
Welcome back to the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760.
So a couple of texts that rolled in earlier. 70470 started with team. We started the day by talking about Michael King and the Padres not reaching an agreement with him on 2025. Doesn't mean they won't, but they could go to arbitration. And 360 said at this point last year, Jim, the Padres had signed Yuki Matsui and Wusa Go. They didn't have their left fielder until February 24th. Not sure the lawsuit has much to do with it. They'd also traded Juan Soto.
Look, do I think the lawsuit has the biggest reason why they have not signed anybody this offseason? I don't. But I do think the change of direction with this franchise has a lot to do with it. And the passing of Peter Seidler 2 years ago, huge. You don't just slash $100 million payroll and then don't make any signings for 2 straight seasons and trade away, a future Hall of Famer in Juan Soto. Turn out to be a good deal. But you don't do all that stuff and then tout out, oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to really uphold Peter Seidler's legacy. Give me a break. You don't do that and then come out there with the PR statement that you're doing everything you can to honor Peter Seidler. No, you're not. You had a really good season last year. I'll give AJ Preller credit. He had a fantastic year. This ain't on Preller, though. This is on the direction of the franchise from the front office with their decisions to cut a portion of this payroll to be as flexible as you can, and you're not going to pass any CBT number again, and yada yada yada.
To that point, there's a text here 619 that says it's actually really scary considering there's only a $1 million difference for Michael King. Padres have offered one number, King wants 1.5 million more. That kind of illustrates your point. We've gotten to the point where the Padres for 10 consecutive years did not go to arbitration with arbitration-eligible players. They made a point to reach an agreement with their players.
They even settled on Juan Soto for a year out of arbitration. Remember that? It was like $30 million.
Yeah, exactly. But with King, I mean, we're not talking about a vast difference in baseball dollars. $1.5 million in professional sports is not $100 million. Like $1.5 million. We're talking about $1.5 million.
Yeah.
And for whatever, and by the way, it's not like Michael King is coming off some disappointing year and he wants the $1.5 million bump. Mm-hmm. He's coming off a really good year and he wants the $1.5 million. Look, here's my guess. There'll be a resolution without arbitration. That's my hope, and it is my guess based on AJ Preller's track record, but it is not a good feel or a good look even for the organization that we're talking about the instability, we're talking about the lawsuit, and now we're talking about $1.5 million for one of their best players in Michael King.
Yeah, the perception of this franchise right now is not great. It isn't, even though they can tout and say that everything's fine, everything's operating as normal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not the perception of you guys. And not only is it not the perception of you guys, we are not stupid. We can look at what's going on. There's nothing going on. Like there's nothing. Not one single thing. And yes, I've said, to try to figure out why, okay, maybe it is the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes. And I do believe after the decision on Roki, things will start to happen. Like they have to. We're reaching a point here where it's like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going into spring training, you want to have your team as close to set as possible. Now, Preller has bucked that trend a lot. As last year, trading for Dylan Cease in the middle of spring training, guy wasn't even here, before they got to Korea. And look what happened. They had a fantastic year. Traded for Luis Ariz in the season. Guy had a fantastic year. Maybe not as good as the year as he's capable of, but still won a batting championship.
Right.
So it's not unprecedented, but like, again, the trends of this franchise going forward now for the last 2 years after the passing of Peter Seidler have been in complete opposite direction of what I think and what you think and what a lot of fans think Peter Seidler would have done in these last 2 years.
Yeah, and I just think it's hard to win. Who was it that told us like payroll's directly tied to winning? It's not a guarantee, but look at the historical trend points, and payroll is directly tied to winning. The issue that the Padres are experiencing is not that their payroll is so low comparatively. I mean, it's kind of major league average. Maybe it'll be slightly above major league average, but they've also, this is where you can say the other side of the Preller equation is he's tied up a lot of money in a few players. And some of it hasn't been spent wisely. And I'm not even going to go with Manny. I think Manny could argue the merits. But the Xander money is such an outlier and is weighing so heavily here that you may have to move a player of Dylan Cease's caliber. Because Xander Bogaerts is making more money than Dylan Cease now and moving forward. Not every team hits on every signing. It's understandable. You can't predict the future. There are good and bad signings. But the Xander Bogaerts signing is going to go down as an awful, awful contract in Padres history. Truthfully, one of the worst signings, arguably, in baseball history. Now, he could turn it around, but that's on him.
Yep.
Because what he's done so far is not perform given the contract. And that contract's going to weigh them down. And it's weighing them down right now.
It is. But do you think if Peter were still here, that contract would be weighing them down like we are talking about right now?
Again, it's hard to no, and we don't led to believe that it wouldn't weigh them down like it is right now. I do agree with that. I think they would find ways.
I don't want to put actions and words into somebody that's not with us anymore. But I mean, come on. Like the years that Peter was the control person and owner of this franchise, it was foot on the gas pedal, ready to go, off-season move after off-season move, trades, signings, anything possible to try to win. And then he passes away, and what happens? Nothing. And look, if they came out and were like, look, we're going to have to really I know Peter wanted to sign a lot of players and do a lot of stuff like that, but we're going to have to probably, unfortunately, have to go in a different direction now because of other factors that are weighing us down. Instead, what they say,
they say radio silence.
No, what they're saying is we're going to uphold the legacy of Peter. The legacy of Peter.
Yeah, but they haven't said anything. A statement to me is saying nothing.
Well, right. People can interpret what Peter's legacy was, and this ain't it.
I know, but what I'm saying is it's so easy for any organization in any business to put out any statement. I need to hear from people. I need to hear it from your mouth.
I need to see it.
And I'm not talking about AJ Preller. Preller does not own the team.
No.
He doesn't determine their payroll. That's not his job. He has to stay in line. That's his job, to stay in line and keep it within their budget. I need to hear from John Seidler. Now, he's not even the chairman yet.
Who?
That's what Dennis Lin was writing today, that they expect he'd be the chairman potentially by the start of spring training. Right now, the chairman is Eric Itzenda. He is still the chairman of the San Diego Padres, not John Seidler, not Sheil Seidler.
So does anybody know what John Seidler looks like?
Hey, we're deja vu. It's like the Eric Itzenda conversation.
I'm dead serious.
He has skin and hair.
No idea.
Eyeballs.
Well, apparently, according to reports, is dude was around the ballpark a lot, yet no one knows what he looks like.
Well, Kevin did say that. I mean, Kevin would know because Kevin's around the ballpark a lot as well. I mean, just because we don't know what he looks like doesn't mean he's not involved in the organization. A lot of people that don't know what me and you look like, we're on the radio every day.
True.
So, I mean, so that to me isn't the full indicator.
No, but I think coming off of who Peter was to Eric Itzenda, who for a couple months we didn't know what he looked like, and heard from him one
another
time,
guy that we don't know who he
another guy who ironically is his brother, who we've never heard of before until
this week.
2 weeks ago.
Right.
Honestly, never heard of John Seidler before. Never heard of Matt.
Right. We heard of Tom.
Heard of Tom. We heard of Peter. Sheil, obviously. Yep. But the Seidler bros, as I referred him to, never heard from. We haven't. I don't know what they look like until 2 days ago.
I know.
It's funny. I did an image Google search for John Seidler Padres, and the fourth photo that popped up was you guys.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
John and Seidler.
With a big headline that says more drama.
It's on San Diego Sports 760. All right, we're going to give away Aztec basketball tickets on the other side. Plus, we'll get to your calls, 877-767-4760. If you want to weigh in, you can hit us up on the Talkback mic as well. That's right. Hit us up on the Talkback mic. Leave a 30-second Talkback. Just search for San Diego Sports 760 on the iHeartRadio app. Again, your calls, 877-767-4760, plus Aztec basketball tickets for Tuesday night coming up next right here on Jon and Jim.
Welcome back to the third anniversary of Jon and Jim on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760.
All right, if you haven't checked out the new iHeartRadio app, now is the time to do it. You can find us there each and every day. You can listen live to Jon and Jim. Just search for San Diego Sports 760. Make sure to follow Jon and Jim. You can listen to us on replay on the podcast as well. So the all-new iHeartRadio app, number one audio app in the country. presets, and more now available. Check it out. Download the all-new iHeartRadio app. Do you want to go to the phones?
Sure.
It is the 3rd anniversary of the show. I don't think anyone has been on the show more than Dave, who's going to be back with us right now, Dave. And we have David as well on hold. But Dave, we're going to start with you. Thanks for calling in to Jon and Jim.
Well, happy anniversary, guys.
Thanks, man.
Yes. This started with the infamous Jim Russell rant and rave on our good friend Emilio Pagan.
That's right.
And actually, for an anniversary remembrance, if you guys have that in the archives and can dust it off, it's still I consider it to be one of the San Diego radio classics. So,
thanks, Dave.
Jimmy, good for you. You guys have been terrific people to listen to. You work hard. I know you do. And especially with the pod and everything else you got. Jon, you've moved over to the Aztecs. You've done great. Jim even went so far as to prove everybody that he can do it. He got married last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look at all the things that have happened in 3 years since you knuckleheads all got together. It's a great thing. Can I say one thing,
Sure.
Jon, in support of what you said about the Padres? The guys in the executive suite need to get it together. And the reason why people have, I think, latched on to Sheil Seidler is the fact she's personable. She's out there. She doesn't hide in the executive suite. As you've said earlier, we don't know who any of these people are. They might be brothers, but I tell you what, nobody knew that these guys even existed. And they don't have to provide, as I've said so many times, they don't have to provide an accountant's rendition of where this team is. But they do owe their loyal fans that have sold this damn stadium out now for 2 years, going on 3 years maybe, this next year. They owe them a lot more in explanation as to where this franchise is going than what they've given us. And they need to shake themselves.
Dave, we appreciate you. I think we may have also cut you off, but thank you for your support of the longtime support of the show. Seriously, we do appreciate it. And again, you can reach us at 877-767-4760.
It's not a prerequisite that we know what the owner looks like, or if that owner is out in the public, or if he's at every game, or she's at every game, or they do the things that Peter did. It's not. It would be nice, but it's not. As long as the owner's writing checks and allowing the baseball front office to make moves and not putting these budgetary restraints on them to handcuff them from building a contender and a winner. That's what all fan bases should care about the most.
Yeah, I would say like a good owner is like get out of the way.
Write the checks, get out of the way.
Team to be successful. Like, yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's go back to the phones. 877-767-4760. We'll give away Aztec tickets, by the way. Don't go anywhere. We'll do that in the next few minutes for Tuesday night. But David, thanks for your patience, and thanks for calling into Jon and Jim.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate all you do for San Diego sports and taking my calls in the past. I just wanted to say, regarding the ownership thing, I'll say this for all the people who are like, these people are like, oh, well, we're honoring Peter's legacy. Really? I don't see that. I mean, I gave them a pass last year, losing the TV deal, not making the playoffs, get playoff revenue like expected. I gave them a pass last year. This year, no excuses. They sold out the stadium again, got postseason revenue. Like, they made money this year. And honoring Peter's legacy, like, Peter would not have gone to arbitration over $1.5 million with our best starting pitcher. Peter would have walked down to the field to give King a contract extension after he dominated the Braves in the wild card last year. Like, all this talk is cheap. You got to prove it to me. And they failed already the first test going to arbitration with Michael King. That's all I got to say. And also that the statements that they've released, it feels like they've written this on ChatGPT and released it through the media, through AC, whereas Sheil directly addresses the fans. And I think that tells you all you need to know.
Appreciate you, David. That's a good call. I mean, yeah. I think he represents a portion of the fan base that feels a similar way. And yeah, I think there is some anger and frustration. I don't think you're going to see it at the box office. Yeah. Okay. But I do think there's a portion of diehard fans that don't like the supposed direction. We don't know the full direction, but what they're showing us with their actions, and it's not lining up with their words.
Yeah. No one cares that your last name is Seidler. Sorry, if you're not going to, if you're going to go out and say you're going to honor the legacy of Peter, but do everything opposite of what Peter was about and stood for and wanted, as far as, win at all costs. Like, what can we do to win? Like, hey guys, let's talk about this. Can we make this happen? Could we sign Aaron Judge to $400 million? Could we sign Trey Turner?
Right.
Could we do this? Could we trade for Blake Snell and Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish in one offseason? Can we do this? I don't know if those conversations are being had. Like, they need an outfielder. Anthony Santander is a guy who would be perfect for this team. It ain't going to happen.
Because of the money.
But I bet you if Peter were here, I bet you those conversations would be like, hey, could we maybe do this?
Right.
And if not, guess what those other conversations would be had? How can we lock up Jackson Merrill long-term? How can we lock up Michael King long-term? Those conversations I know would have been had. And I'm sure they're had as well right now, but I feel like they would be way farther along in the process of those things actually, coming to light than right now.
Yeah. Like, how can I read the Athletic article from Dennis and Ken Rosenthal, and they're like, some in the organization say it's still business as usual, but there's no precedent under AJ Preller or under ownership in the last 10 plus years of the Padres being this quiet for this extended of a time. I mean, coming out of the lockout a couple of years ago, they were relatively quiet. They didn't have money. Last offseason, all right, relatively quiet.
Lockout was difficult.
It was, well, obviously during the lockout, they did nothing, or whatever it was, lockout, strike, whatever it was. Yeah. They did something on the other side of it. Last offseason, you could say it was quiet, but it wasn't really. The Juan Soto trade and the Dylan Cease trade are significant moves. And again, moves are coming. Baseball moves are coming, but are they going to look like the moves we've seen over the last 10 years or not?
Man, I can't wait to see what they do. And I hope they prove us wrong. I hope everybody that's upset right now and is, kind of quieted down a little bit here, because they do make moves and they do give Michael King a contract extension and they do, do this and they do that. And they re-sign Jurickson Profar, right? They make a trade for a pitcher or a catcher, which they need desperately because can't be ain't it. They need, maybe they do that stuff. And then we're sitting here in a month saying, okay,
yeah,
maybe we should have just let this thing played out. We got upset for maybe no reason.
No,
but I don't know if that's going to happen. And I don't feel confident about that happening either.
To me, you need goodwill. They have to recognize this internally. I said this to start the week, the next move you make should be among your most significant of the offseason. I don't want the next move, the Tyler Wade 900K. And if it's not Roki because it's out of your control, he has to choose you, then make a sizable trade to positively impact the organization. Or if you have any amount to spend of substance, spend it now. If you're waiting on Jurickson, now's the time to do it. You need that goodwill move. Their next move has to be a positive, productive, AJ Preller type move.
And, there's a lot of things, obviously, that, breaks your heart when Peter passed away that he wasn't able to see and that he won't be able to see. Most importantly, with his family and his children. Like, that's by far and away number one that you breaks your heart. But for the Padres standpoint, not seen last year, and the first thing I think of when I think of Jackson Merrill, not only is he a great player, but like, man, Peter would have loved him. That's like the prototypical player that Peter, like, I'm sure dreamed about, right? This guy that all he cares about is baseball.
Sure.
He just lives and breathes it. He's a guy that is really good. You're telling me that Peter wouldn't have tried to lock him up ASAP?
Yeah. The points are valid. We'll never know. There's a path. We'll never know what would have played out if they went down it. Peter was still here. But there's validity based on the actions he made as an owner for the 3 years he was representing ownership. He was part of an ownership group longer than that. But the 3 years he was the chairman, they were the talk of baseball for those 3 years.
I have to go find it because it was during, I forget which press conference it was. Maybe it was the Manny one. But I remember him saying, and this is not verbatim, it's essentially like, what we want to accomplish here is locking up players long-term for the fans. Because in his mind, it was like, I want the fans to see these players for long periods of time.
Yeah, to like hold on to them. To have them.
You have this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy, right?
I still feel like some of that legacy has been protected, and we can get to it on the other side. But and a lot of it's because of Peter. They locked up Manny Machado. They locked up Fernando Tatis Jr. They will have Joe Musgrove. They have Xander Bogaerts.
Can you do that?
These are some sizable pieces.
Can you do that now that he's not here, though?
I don't know. We're going to find out. They can't afford to have Jackson Merrill go anywhere. I know that.
Yeah, no.
All right. Call right now if you want to see San Diego State play Colorado State at Viejas Arena next Tuesday night. Tickets are available at Go Aztecs or
wait, what?
Go Aztecs.com. But if you want 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs take on Colorado State, call right now. We have 2 free tickets. 2 caller 7. 877-767-4760. SDSU Colorado State. 877-767-4760. That's Tuesday night. More on this conversation on the other side, plus the wrap. It's hour 3 of Jon and Jim next.
This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. San Diego State takes on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. tip time. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. Following that game, NFL playoff action right here on the station. Chargers and Texans. Notre Dame last night beat Penn State. They're moving on to the national championship game tonight. Ohio State and Texas in the other semifinal matchup. 4:30 kickoff. Winner of that game moves on to face Notre Dame. The fully electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz is innovation on a magnificent scale. Available with the epic 56-inch touch-sensitive hyperscreen. The vehicle's all electric. The feeling's all Mercedes. Learn more at MBUSA.com today.
3 years ago, two men.
The guys did great, and Jim did great, and I'm an idiot.
This is one time to really cash out.
One idea, and so it became the legendary broadcast standard that is Jon and Jim. Are they serious about this? Not like Morrow and Cronkite are worried. It's the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim, your source for the latest news and analysis for all things San Diego sports, and for those occasionally offended by the guys.
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Now, as they start another year together, it's John Schaefer and Jim Russell.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is the 3rd year anniversary of Jon and Jim, and hour 3, we're here until 6 p.m. We mentioned that if you follow us on social media today, we will follow you back. We've seen some of those follows come in on X. We're at Jon and Jim. If you open up your phone right now, open up X or Twitter, we're at Jon and Jim. That's JONANDJIM. And we're also on Instagram. Search for Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. If you follow us right now on Twitter or Instagram, just open up your phone, give us a follow. It doesn't cost anything, doesn't hurt. We will follow you back. So at Jon and Jim on Twitter and Instagram. Cynthia Freeland will join us, NFL Network, friend of the show. She will swing by at 5 p.m. to get us ready for Wild Card Weekend. Actually, Super Wild Card Weekend.
It's super wild card. So put some respect on it. No, remember, that's what we're supposed to call it now.
I know. What are you laughing at?
Nothing. I can't say it on the radio.
Okay. All right.
Because I put on Twitter, does anybody know what Jon Seiler looks like? Asking for a friend.
Okay.
And there's some
funny responses.
Some funny responses. Yeah.
All right. You can look at that at Jim Russell SD. Like, you can retweet that from Jon.
I'm being very sincere. I don't know what he looks like. So I'm seriously like, what does Jon Seiler look like? Does anybody know? Kevin, can you post a picture of Jon, please?
Right. But if you Google search him, he doesn't come up.
I haven't found him yet.
Right. So it's like Contenda. I freaked out about that a year ago.
Because Jon does not work at the Seidler trust.
So he's not on the website.
Right. His brothers Robert and his little brother Matt are on there.
Mm-hmm.
Not Jon.
I mean, I'm not overly worried about what he looks like.
No, but I need to put a face to. I'm talking about somebody every day, and the person who's control person of this franchise, the guy that eventually, if depending on how this lawsuit plays out, right? When things go wrong, it's like, hey, Jon, where you at, dude? That's how it works in professional sports. The owner is the head of the food chain.
We're at the point where we don't know what he looks like, to where I got excited for a second because I was like, that's Tom.
Yeah, it's Tom.
Yeah, Tom Seiler. I mean, here's the thing. If he's chairman, you'll hear from him the first day of spring training. If he's not chairman by then, you'll hear from him in 2026.
We'll all find out what he looks like then.
Yeah, at some point in the next year or two, we'll find out about Jon Seiler. And this is presuming and assuming Major League Baseball names him the next chairman, or it's approved by the owners. And then there's the whole lawsuit, which you're right. I mean, it's kind of like lost some steam, and we knew this would happen.
Yep.
But it's going to play out in the background for weeks, months, years, potentially, that Sheila Seidler has said she should be in control of the San Diego Padres. So there's that whole dynamic that's playing out. Yeah, we think Jon Seiler is going to be in control. Maybe he will be in 2025. We have no clue about long-term who's going to be in control of the Padres.
Also, another little small piece of it, like Sheila's seen a lot towards the end of last season, into the postseason. She threw out the first pitch, if you remember, on opening day. Remember,
right.
She wore the jacket with the PS on the back.
Right.
She was there. Like, her kids have been there. So is she going to be able to show up next year?
Yeah, I mean, she'd have to be able to. There's no world where the widow of the previous owner and the current chairman has the same last name and she wouldn't be allowed in the ballpark. There's no world.
I understand
but,
that.
But I mean, you're right. Based on the back and forth that he said, she said stuff, it sounds like it's not necessarily tenable or good between the two sides.
Like if what we're, told is said to be true, that John, Matt, and Bob, they're at the games all the time, or they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are they going to operate if you got that group and Shield, and they're in a war of words, and there's a lawsuit pending between Shield and them? They're going to have to cross paths at some point, though, right?
Does Shield currently own any percentage of the Padres based on her shares in Peter Sadler Trust? I don't know the answer to that. But the reason I ask it, are they ultimately
probably
going
should know, but I don't.
Are they ultimately going to buy her out?
Maybe.
Buy her shares out, because remember, she said that they're not living up to their responsibilities, like financially or fiduciary responsibilities, which means one of her claims is they're diluting her shares. Therefore, she has value within the trust. Is the end game here, and I'm just speculating that she's just going to get paid off and they'll just write her out by writing her a check?
Well, I don't follow a lot of lawsuits between millionaires and billionaires, but a lot of times it ends with settlements. Like it ends.
So that would basically be a financial component.
It ends with something financial.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it definitely comes down to finances, or the way it ends. And a lot of people have spoken on this. And Ken Rosenthal and Dennis Lynn wrote about it today. It ends with a sale. There have been a number of examples of sales because of infighting between family members or within an ownership group that would lead to a sale. And that's why we've been hypothetically speaking about the possibility of a sale. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Can Notre Dame beat Ohio State or Texas?
Not they play like that. If they play like last night versus Ohio State or Texas, I think Ohio State or Texas, the winner of this game, wins the national championship. I do. Texas, I don't think is as good as Ohio State, but I think they have a puncher's chance tonight. I think that if things go their way and Ohio State doesn't get out to a big lead like
nothing.
Yeah, right. Like you can make a couple stops early in the first quarter, put some points on the board first. Yeah, you just have to make sure you don't withstand that avalanche potentially from Ohio State. But I'm going to say at this point, no.
Yeah, I mean, going from playing Penn State to playing Ohio State is like going from driving I don't even know, like a car with no pickup to driving a Maserati. I mean, their receivers are the best. I mean, some of the receivers would be really good in the NFL right now. They have elite weapons on the outside, which Penn State didn't. I just don't see how Notre Dame slows down Ohio State's offense. They really didn't slow down Penn State's offense, truthfully. So I think Ohio State wins this game, and I don't think Notre Dame really has a puncher's chance. That's how I'm going to look at it heading into it if they do play Ohio State. My guess is Ohio State's more than a touchdown favorite if they play Notre Dame for the national championship. Next question.
Is tomorrow a must-win game for the Aztecs?
Oh. I think a staple of Jon and Jim.
Yep. It's no, not a must-win because New Mexico's good, but you gotta stack up some good wins in conference here to make your resume even more solidified. Mm-hmm. So if you can, before January 11th or January 12th, have 2 wins in conference on the road against Boise and New Mexico, that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, I think it's a really big game. I agree. I don't think it's absolutely necessary to win, but I also think that the Mount West this year, there's not the same amount of margin for error. And you're going to need to avoid the bad loss, and you're going to need to pick up some good wins along the way. And they did that at Boise State, and they avoided the bad loss against Air Force, won by 29 points. I just think it's a big feather in the cap of the winner. I think it's a big resume boost for New Mexico if they win. I think it's a big resume boost for San Diego State. If it wins, it'll be a close game. We'll see if the Aztecs get another close game on the road. Next question.
Will a team playing on Super Wildcard Weekend win the Super Bowl?
Will a team on Wildcard Weekend win the Super Bowl?
So pretty much will anyone besides the Chiefs or Detroit win the Super Bowl?
I'm going to say yes. And I'm only saying yes because I can't see the Chiefs win again.
Are you betting on the Eagles in that hypothetical?
Yes. Eagles or Ravens or Bills.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, bro, Chiefs can't win again. I'm sorry. Nope. Can't happen.
I say no. I say the Chiefs win again.
And it's going to probably happen.
Yeah, I say no. I think the Chiefs should be the favorite. I think they are the favorite. I think they're clearly the best team in the NFL. Doesn't mean they're going to win it, but there's no reason to believe they're not going to win it based on what they've done the last 2 years. Next question.
What is your most memorable moment from 3 years of Jon and Jim?
Oh, man. So many awful ones.
So many. That's a good question.
It's the back of your head, dude.
Yeah, can't beat that.
It can't beat that.
It wasn't like my favorite moment.
No,
it's a memorable moment.
So I felt really bad for you that day because you were super.
I was embarrassed.
Shaking. I get it. It's
that was
like
awful.
That was not good.
No.
But it basically made the show, and it's the only reason we're still in the air. Right? It's like win a battle, lose a war, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or lose a battle, win a war.
That's up there. I think our show after the Aztecs made it to the national championship game, or made it to the Final Four, excuse me, was like a really cool moment.
Been super cool. I don't even remember it.
Okay.
I remember we went to the press conference that week before the Final Four on campus.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
And JD took a picture of the back of my head.
Back of your head, yeah. So that was trending in 2023.
Yeah.
What's your favorite memory? Let's throw that out there. 70470 start it with team. If you've been listening, what's been your favorite memory of the show? 70470 start it with team. Remind us of some things that have happened over the years.
I think they're just getting more powerful and more powerful by the day. Is that even a word? They're just getting more powerful. No. Another one that was actually, I could probably say one of my favorite moments was during the 2022 NLCS. Downtown, after I think
Game two,
they won it. They tie it up 1-1, and it was a madhouse. Me and you at the corner there, right next to Petco.
That's great.
It was insane. There was like a car show happening in the middle of the street. I think some woman took her flashed us, and
right. He thinks.
Well, it was close. We saw who did we see there? We saw Jared Tolver. We saw Alan Sleewell on the street.
Yeah.
A lot of people that watch the show and listen to the show.
Someone put in the chat for the wrap-up show, the show Jim did from outside a advanced auto parts store because like you didn't have internet or something one night, or you had to leave your place.
Yeah.
That was absurd. Yeah, NLCS, I agree with you. You're right. Aztecs run in 2023. That's about it. I'm sure there's some other things in there too.
You know what the crazy part is that doing this job, there's a lot of times, and by a lot of times, I mean almost every time, me and John, it's very hard for us to even like remember sometimes what we said yesterday.
Correct.
It's so difficult because when you're doing this for 4 hours now, every day, to remember every little thing that you said, it's
a lot.
It's a lot.
Right.
So there are times where I'm thinking back, I'm like, I think I said that, or I think that happened.
I always love when someone's like, in 2022, you said that this was going to happen and it didn't. And then in 2024, you said the opposite. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And we took for 20 hours a week. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of back and forth. We're not always going to get it right. I'm sure there's times we contradict ourselves, but we try to tell it truthfully and honestly and unbiasedly.
Every one of our train wreck radios has been
a train
not
wreck.
memorable, but memorable.
That's been
the time that Brent had to leave the show and then I was running the
bar.
bar.
You were so bad that
and like everything just like crapped out on me.
I would love to listen back to that.
It was awful. And I've run the board like for 7 years.
Know. What are your favorite memories from the show? Remind us of some interesting moments. 70470 started with the word team. Speaking of Trainwreck Radio, we'll play for Aztec tickets later this hour, and Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network will join us at 5 p.m. We're here until 6, third year anniversary edition of Jon and Jim. Stay with us. Want to record here, bro?
Congrats to Jon and Jim. It's the 3rd anniversary of the show, where the suggested gift is leather. Never mind. Back to the show.
Yeah, I looked that up today.
Leather?
The 3rd anniversary gift is leather.
Did you buy me any leather?
Stay tuned.
What leather?
What does that even mean?
Could you imagine if you walked in and you're like, here's some leather chaps?
No, I can't imagine that. So I didn't get you anything. And you didn't get me anything.
I kind of forgot, honestly.
No, you didn't, because I told you like 7 hours ago.
No. Yes, you did.
He wasn't listening, though.
But when we were about to get ready for the show and I saw your post, I go, oh, yeah, it's 3-year anniversary.
I know, you're an idiot. Starting Monday, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. That's every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. starting next Monday. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com starting Monday at 6 a.m. Presented by Palomar Solar, your trusted partner for solar, batteries, and roofing. Thank you to those that have been following us on social media. We are following you back right now. So at Jon and Jim, that's JONANDJIM on Twitter. Follow us. We'll follow you right back. It's the 3rd anniversary show. Or follow us on Instagram at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. Just open your phone right now. So easy. Open Twitter, open TikTok. We're on TikTok at Jon and Jim. Open Instagram. Give us a follow, and we will follow you right back. Okay, Jim? Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds really good. All right, so a couple stories that we're following here today. Again, San Diego State on the road tomorrow at New Mexico. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760. 10 a.m. is the start time. 9 a.m. is the pregame coverage. And then Dennis Lin and Ken Rosenthal did the deeper dive on the infighting and what impact it may have on the Padres' ability to just do business. We're talking about Roki. We're talking about free agents. We're talking about trades. If you missed Ken Rosenthal, I mean, we could play that again at some point later this show.
Yeah, 5 o'clock hour.
Yeah, 5 o'clock hour would be good. But, I mean, they raised some questions that we have raised all week long on Jon and Jim.
And we won't know really until how these things affect the franchise until maybe like years down the road. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
And you could say, well, Jim, it's affecting them right now. I think what's affecting them right now is like, Peter passing away. And without Peter here, you're not going to get the Padres that go out and spend money or push the envelope or what can we do to win?
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting that. So now you're seeing the effects of the passing of Peter, and maybe eventually you'll see the effects of this lawsuit.
Yeah, I wonder what the effects of the lawsuit are. I mean, is it financial? Is it the fact that they just can't do business as usual? Here's an example. Here's where my concern would be. Last year, as the clock is striking midnight, they strike this deal for Dylan Cease. I mean, they're already on their way for Korea.
Yeah.
But it basically changes the course of the year to some extent. He puts together a top 5 Cy Young year. Later in the year, early, well before the deadline, they strike for Luis Ariz.
Yeah.
Those types of moves are very unconventional in baseball. A late March significant trade, and then a mid-May trade, it's basically unheard of. Mm-hmm. Could that occur again in 2025? Last year, there was a level of security, I guess. There was no lawsuit. Yes, we were, post-Peter Seidler era, but you could make the argument they were conducting business as usual. A year later, can they do those exact same moves? Are they going to be capable of pulling off a move for a starting pitcher of the caliber of Dylan Cease? Would they pull off a midseason trade for someone like Luis Ariz? I mean, personally, I don't see why they shouldn't be able to, but they're going to have to prove it to us, I guess, in their actions. Again, I think baseball moves are coming. This thing there's no way they're paralyzed from baseball moves entirely, like end of sentence. They can't make baseball moves. If that's the case, they're in real trouble. I just wonder the extent of the moves they'll be making.
They'll make moves. AJ is always looking to make moves. And it's about like, what do they have to make moves with? They use a lot of resources last year to acquire Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz, Tanner Scott, Jason Adam, and Brian Hoeing. A lot. They traded damn near all of their pitching prospects. At least their top pitching prospects for those players. So what does AJ have in his farm system that he has to go out and trade for starting pitching, like top
That
level starting
too.
pitching.
Yeah.
We know he's not trading DeVries or Salas. We know that. But again, would I be opposed to them trading those two guys? No, not really. I think that if you can tell me you traded one of those two players for like an all-star that's under control for multiple years,
right?
I'm on board with that 100%. But
that would be surprising.
But that's not going to happen because the new way of the Padres, like, group to kind of let the cat out of the bag is like, we need to build with our farm system. We need to have guys that come up through the system or we're not going to be able to succeed here.
Honestly, that should be every team.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not building from your system, you probably are behind the 8 ball. And the Jackson Merrill thing, they finally hit, put together a great year. They could really use hitting again on one of those players. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen in 2025. You're not going to see huge impacts from Ethan Salas or Leo DeVries in 2025. They're young kids. They're teenagers. They haven't reached the high levels of the minor leagues. They haven't yet had full success, even at the levels they've played in the minor leagues. So the Merrill thing was great, but I don't know if it's going to be deja vu all over again in 2025. I don't even know who the comparable prospect would be in 2025. I think you're more looking at 2026 when it comes to their prospects as opposed to 2025.
Well, that's great, John. They need to win in 2025.
Nah, they're fine. Everything's fine. They've sold out of season tickets.
That was some epic timing right there, right?
With that release.
I was like, hey, we need something to put out there to kind of calm things down a little bit.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Maybe it is. All right, we're 20 minutes out from Ohio State and Texas. The college football semifinals will get you ready. Later this hour, we're giving away San Diego State, Colorado State men's basketball tickets for Tuesday night. Then Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network will get us ready for Super Wildcard Weekend at 5 p.m. on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. The national semifinal matchup between Texas and Ohio State is moments away from kickoff. Winner of that game will take on Notre Dame in the national championship game 2 Mondays from now. Aztecs take on New Mexico tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. tip time. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And following that game, we have NFL playoff action right here on the station with Chargers and Texans. The fully electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz is innovation on a magnificent scale, available with the epic 56-inch touch-sensitive Hyperscreen. The vehicle is all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQS.
Welcome back to the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760.
All right, here until 6 p.m., 3rd anniversary edition. Again, if you follow us on social media today, we will follow you back at Jon and Jim. Thank you, Morgan Freeman, for the follow.
Oh, the Morgan Freeman?
Maybe.
John probably doesn't even know who that is.
He's, yeah, I do. Famous singer.
He's the voice of God.
No, I know Morgan Freeman. Again, if you follow us on Twitter at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM, just open your phone right now. We'll follow you back. Open up Instagram. We'll follow you right back. Look at all these follows we're getting right now, dude.
Oh, it must be nice.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, just delete that
follow.
person.
I didn't mean to follow. Look at this earlier. Followed, requested, following. So follow us on TikTok. I don't even know. Are we on TikTok?
No, I think TikTok's like going to get a ban here pretty soon.
They've been saying that for 10 years.
Yeah, but it got more happened today. They had to find a new business partner really fast. Put it that way.
Okay. Well, anyway, TikTok at Jon and Jim, Instagram at Jon and Jim, Twitter at Jon and Jim. Just open up your phone, give us a follow. We'll follow you back.
If there were 2 social media platforms and that's all you could use, which would you choose?
Blue Ski?
No. Twitter and Instagram?
Okay. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I would use Twitter and Instagram too.
I mean, I get the TikTok. I mean, TikTok's an addicting platform.
I wind down my nights a lot just scrolling through TikTok.
Doom scrolling. I don't touch it. I really don't. But if I do open it, I can see how appealing it is in terms of like you're never gonna get out of it.
Like I got down a path last night of watching TikToks from some guy called Spudman, and he's in the UK, and he has a spud truck, potatoes, and he's very famous for his spuds.
Wow, this is what you're missing if you're not on TikTok. I mean, the other honestly, if I
giving us this, what's left for the back page,
right? If I could only use 2 apps though, like first of all, iHeart app is awesome for what we do. It really is because
but
nobody has
media.
well, does YouTube count in social media at all?
No,
it's more media.
No, it's more media
because I am obsessed with the YouTube.
Oh, if we had to pick
apps to open,
yeah, YouTube.
Like YouTube's got to be my top 3.
Yeah,
because I need it. I absolutely need it. All right, they're about to kick off Ohio State, Texas. Now this game is at the Cotton Bowl, right in Dallas. So the advantage is that an advantage? I think it is. I mean, the Texas Longhorns playing in Dallas, I think, is an advantage.
Is that orange or red?
I think it's a lot of orange and red.
Because the orange and red are going to blend together.
I think it's a lot of orange and red. Listen, Texas only lost this year to Georgia, right? Their only losses this year were twice to Georgia.
Twice?
Am I getting something confused?
Ohio State lost to Michigan and who else?
Oregon.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, on the road.
But the University of Texas this year has 2 losses, all right, versus Georgia in Austin and to Georgia in overtime in the SEC championship. I mean, this is a team that has beaten who? The thing is, they didn't play a great schedule. But their only 2 losses are to Georgia.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they didn't look great against Arizona State, did they? They really didn't. In that win, in the quarterfinals, I didn't think they looked great.
No.
They survived at that.
And that Clemson game, while the end score wasn't close, I mean, Clemson was on the verge of potentially tying that game up.
Yeah, they hung around. Yeah, I agree. So it's like you're kind of waiting to see the best of Texas. Yeah. We've already seen the best of Ohio State. The best of Ohio State's the best team in America.
Yep.
The best of Texas, I mean, we're waiting on it. Maybe they show it to us.
The best of Texas is sitting on their bench.
Oh, Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued. I hope it's a good game. I mean, last night was so good. I don't want Ohio State cutting out to a 14-0 lead. Like, that's the last thing I want.
Unless they blow it.
If they blow it, yeah.
If they blow it, then that would be just terrific because I hate Ohio State.
Because last night's game felt like it was on the verge of Penn State maybe pulling away from that thing.
Did for a moment feel like that would happen. Yes.
And then Notre Dame fought back. They tied it up. They took the lead 17-10.
The difference is Penn State is Penn State and Ohio State is Ohio State. And their historical differences are pretty significant. And Ohio State capitalizes. Yeah. I mean, Ohio State is as blue of a blue blood as there is. They've been dominant. Ball, yeah. They've been flat out dominant in this sport. Maybe not to the extent of Alabama, but right just a tick below.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to bet against Ohio State's the point. What's the spread? Did we say Ohio State minus 6? Is that what it is?
I don't know. You said 6.5, I think.
Did I? What's the number, Brent?
Ohio State by 6.
All right. 6-point spread for Ohio State. Ohio State was favored against Oregon. They were the top seed. The whole seeding thing has made no sense.
You can get an 8 versus 7 in the national championship.
The 8 seed has done it. Like, they're not the 8 seed.
The Cinderella.
Yeah, exactly. Like
those
pesky,
those gritty Ohio State Buckeyes.
Those underdogs have done it. Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You would get, if Ohio State wins this game, 2 of the biggest brands in college football history.
Right.
And if you just took away the teams' names, you'd be like, oh wow, a 7 versus an 8 seed. That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
What?
Yeah. the one name, again, we said last night, like Penn State's receivers didn't catch a ball. Ohio State is a freshman that should be in the NFL right now. He'd be good in the NFL. I'm convinced of it. Jeremiah Smith is that good. So that to me is going to be fascinating. Ohio State's offense is elite, and can Texas slow that down? I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming up in about, 5 or 10 minutes, the second semifinal. Now, we do have Aztec basketball tickets to give away. We'll do that on the other side with Trainwreck Radio. We've been getting you ready. San Diego State, New Mexico, tomorrow at 10 a.m. This game's nationally televised on CBS. Aztecs had a darn good week, winning in Boise, beat Air Force by 29. Now New Mexico awaits. I think about some of the best regular season games the last couple of years. Either way, the Jalen House game here, when they win at Viejas, remember that game? Nathan Mensah fouled out.
Yep.
They went on to win get to the national championship. Then there was the Lamont Butler shot we talked about last year, Mountain West title game. New Mexico beat San Diego State last year in Vegas. They don't get into the tournament without beating San Diego State. Point is, there's been a lot of high-profile, a lot on the line games between these two teams the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I think like last year, the Aztecs made the Sweet 16, but didn't win the regular season championship and didn't win the conference championship.
I know.
Yet you could say, well, guess what? The last 2 years have been the best run in San Diego State basketball history.
Right.
Well, that's one of the big differences between college football and college basketball is you can not win any of those things and still make a run in the tournament, opposed to, in football, you have to win, your conference to even have a, possibility to get into anything.
Right. To this point, and then there's Ohio State. I didn't see them in the Big Ten title game.
Nope.
It's interesting how that's.
Yeah, but you just said that 5 minutes ago. They're Ohio State.
They are Ohio State. And it's an expanded playoff. And without the expanded playoff, they wouldn't be in. But yeah, Brent's right. I mean, March matters in college basketball, obviously.
Yep.
New Mexico last year won the Mountain West. I forget who they got blown out by. They got blown out by someone in the first round. Clemson?
I want to say Clemson.
Yeah, they were blown out. And they were a sexy pick.
They were
in that game, but they got blown out in that game. So yeah, Aztecs, New Mexico, looking forward to that. I have some sound I want to play in the 5 o'clock hour, by the way, related to Pac-12 expansion.
Here we go.
Shouldn't have this been in Johnisms?
Yes, if I would have seen it, but I just saw it.
Look, because it's our 3-year anniversary,
you'll let it slide.
We'll allow it.
Even if you had on a bracketologist today,
you don't want that, dude.
No, you don't.
I should have.
I have a question.
Yeah,
totally random.
Yeah.
What kind of sweatshirt? What's that brand on your sweatshirt?
This?
Yeah.
This is Jon Jim.
No, it's not.
Oh.
Looks like Baskin Robbins for some reason.
This is Bala Golf Club.
Oh, it must be nice.
Baskin Robbins always finds out.
Yeah,
they always know.
You know me, I'm a big golfer.
Big golfer,
huge.
Yeah. Huge.
So this is Bala.
What is
Have
that?
you played it?
No, where is that?
It's in Pennsylvania.
Why did you buy that?
Because I liked it. Because someone like you would be like, tell me about your quarter zip. It's pretty dope. I just really like it. Go to YouTube and check out my quarter zip.
Tell me about your quarter zip. It's pretty dope.
Nobody
bro.
likes the quarter zip more than I do. Correct? Historically?
Oh, you are Mr. Quarter Zip, bro.
Am I not Mr. Quarter Zip?
You're like Peyton Manning on that commercial when the lady's like got in his clothes. I was like, no, I'm more of a quarter zip guy.
It's such a dad thing. Once you have kids, which will be in like 6 weeks.
No.
I mean, or like, okay.
What?
At some point sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's basically how this stuff
how it works.
happens.
Yes.
You're going to be rocking quarter zips, man.
Yeah.
You got to look that maybe you'll have like a cardigan around your waist, like tie it.
No chance in hell.
Right. That's
I
true.
do like a good quarter zip though. I wear quarter zips a lot.
No, you're Mr. T-shirt. My arms get cold.
It's because you're soft.
Correct. Like
my arms are cold. I'm inside and my armies are cold.
Dude, it gets cold in here. Sometimes it's like
to wear a quarter
68.
zip.
It could be like 68 in here.
I'm chilly.
I'm serious.
I'm so chilly in here.
I'm so done with this show. How many more years do we have to do this stupid thing?
Well, guess what, everybody? It's our last show.
All right. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs Tuesday night against Colorado State. First 2 callers will be our contestants for trivia, but you need to call right now to be a contestant. We have 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs Tuesday night at Viejas Arena. 877-767-4760. That's the number to call. Call right now. 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. We'll give away Aztec tickets on the other side. Then Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network at 5 p.m. on Jon and Jim.
Congrats to Jon and Jim. It's the 3rd anniversary of the show, where the suggested gift is leather. Never mind. Back to the show.
All right, Texas, Ohio State underway. College football semifinal. Texas driving, opening drive of the game inside Ohio State's 40-yard line. We will keep you updated. Cynthia Freeland will join us coming up at 5 p.m., our NFL insider from the NFL Network. Hi, Jim.
Hi, John. I wish that people could like watch a game with us because every single play is.
I make it out to be like the biggest play
deemed to
ever.
be the biggest play in the history of that program's existence.
Correct.
Like Texas makes a 4-yard run. Oh, greatest 4-yard run in the history of Texas.
Yeah.
Guy makes a one-handed catch. Oh, greatest one-handed catch in the history of Texas.
These are big games.
Greatest catch in college football history.
All right. I want to watch this play, and then I want to get to this. So let's get to this. What kind of play call is that?
That was awful.
Go for it.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Steve and we have Tim. Steve, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with for your partner today?
Sort of a toss-up, but I'll take John.
All right. So Steve and John.
Tim and Jim. All right, Tim?
All right.
All right, Brent, what's the question of the day?
You almost say it's Tim and Tim.
Tim and Jim. I like it.
I like that show better.
All right, guys, the NFL playoffs get underway this weekend. Today's question: can you name the top 8 quarterbacks in career passing touchdowns in the postseason? So we're looking for the top 8 quarterbacks that have thrown the most touchdowns in the postseason.
Okay. Tim, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Top 8
on the list.
Wow.
Steve, you're up. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I've got to do the lifeline right now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I'm the lifeline?
You're the lifeline.
I have a good one for you. How about Tom Brady?
Oh, Tom Brady's good.
I'll say yes.
All right.
He's on the list.
All right. Tim, back to you. What is your second guess? Do you have a lifeline if you want to use it?
No, Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw. No. Steve, back to you. You don't have a lifeline, so this is all up to you. What's your second guess?
You say I don't have a lifeline?
You do not. So you have to guess a quarterback.
I do not. I'm going to say Joe Montana.
Joe Montana was already said, so pick another.
Oh wow. I didn't know that. I will say Dan Marino.
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino. Top 8. Season a ton.
Yeah, no.
All right. No.
All right, Tim.
What's the score?
It's 1-0. No, it's 1-1.
It's 1-1.
1-1. Sorry. Tim, back to you. What is your next guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
No, Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
There we go. Steve, you're going to need to stay in the game to force an overtime. Again, this is all up to you. You do not have a lifeline. What do you got?
Okay. I'm going to go with Roman Gabriel.
Roman Gabriel, not on the list.
What the?
I love it. I love
Roman
it.
Gabriel.
I love Trade Reg Radio, man.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
That was
Thank
good.
you.
I'm looking up Roman Gabriel.
No, Peyton Manning. No, Roman Gabriel.
He's a good quarterback in the 60s.
Drew Brees. No, Roman
Let me
Gabriel.
look at his playoff numbers. Hold on. I need his playoff numbers. I need them now.
Roman Gabriel. I need it. What has he done? Give me his freaking numbers, dude.
You need it so bad, right?
Oh, my God.
Hold on. Playoffs. Game log. It's not okay. He played in 2 career games. And he had 1 touchdown pass in 1 game and 2 in the other. So he had 3. So Nick Foles had more like in the Super Bowl in 1 half. Oh, gosh, I love it. I love Trainwreck Radio. Thank you, Steve. Thank
Sometimes
you,
it
Tim.
can be amazing.
Who's on this list
Roman
other
Gabriel.
than Roman Gabriel? Sure, Dylan Gabriel is the same amount, the Oregon quarterback.
Who is the one? We were talking about like 3-pointers all the time. Someone said like Magic Johnson or something.
I don't know.
Someone said some name. I lost it, but oh
You
my
did.
God.
Shaq. All right, what do you got?
Brady's 1, obviously. Then Montana and Aaron Rodgers are tied for 2. Then Brett Favre, Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Ben Roethlisberger.
Dylan Gabriel 9th.
Dan Marino was 9th.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Trainwreck Radio never disappoints. I mean, sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. No. That was good, man.
Wow.
Dylan Gabriel. No, it wasn't Dylan. Roman
Gabriel.
You lost your mind. You were
Roman
like,
Reigns.
You're like, what?
Yeah. Stone Cold.
I love it, man. I love it. All right. So, Cynthia Freeland, there are 6 NFL wildcard games this weekend beginning tomorrow afternoon.
Roman Gabriel.
Cynthia will get us ready.
He named the quarterback at least.
No, it was good. I mean, it was good. It was good.
It was good.
All right, no score, Ohio State, Texas. Texas didn't convert on a 4th down in Ohio State territory. So now Ohio State has the ball early first quarter. We'll keep you updated. Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network will join us to kick off hour number 4 of Jon and Jim. We've got a whole lot more for you coming up. You'll hear from Ken Rosenthal in the 5 o'clock hour. We've got the latest on Pac-12 expansion. I said it. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour as well. So stay with us right here on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Texas and Ohio State underway at the Cotton Bowl. Ohio State has just marched down the field to score. They lead 7-0 with 7:24 left in the first quarter there. Winner of this game will take on Notre Dame in the College Football National Championship game. Tomorrow morning, San Diego State takes on New Mexico, 10 a.m. tip time. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And following that will be NFL playoff action right here on the station as the Chargers take on the Texans. The fully electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz is innovation on a magnificent scale. Available with the epic 56-inch touch-sensitive Hyperscreen. The vehicle is all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQS.
3 years ago, two men.
The guys did great, and Jim did great, and I'm an idiot.
This is one time to really cash out.
One idea, and so it became the legendary broadcast standard that is Jon and Jim. Are they serious about this? Not like Morrow and Cronkite are worried. It's the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim. Your source for the latest news and analysis for all things San Diego sports, and for those occasionally offended by the guys.
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Now, as they start another year together, it's John Schaefer and Jim Russell.
That open was basically a year, so welcome to 2026. All right, final hour, Jon and Jim. It is the 3rd anniversary edition of the show, believe it or not. Time really has not flown by. It feels like we've been doing this 100 years. Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network is back with us right now on Jon and Jim.
Is that the sign of a good or a bad marriage?
I think a bad marriage.
Probably, yeah.
Right? Like, time's not flying.
It's like, why is this taking forever?
Cynthia, first of all, hold on. We're joking. Cynthia, you're in Los Angeles, right? Because NFL
I
Network's,
am.
How are you, and how's everything in LA? And thanks for hopping on.
Oh my goodness. It's been quite the week here. Luckily, I'm far enough south that I'm okay, but some of my coworkers, it's been terrible. It's just been such a bad week, but it's good that we have football and of course college football and of course NFL football to be a nice distraction coming up this weekend. What a heck of a week, huh?
It's been unbelievable.
Yeah,
and we've been thinking about everyone impacted here in Southern California, because we know in California this can happen at any time, anywhere throughout the state, and it just happens, unfortunately, and it's terrible to watch. But we're thinking about everyone that's been impacted. Let's start with the Saturday games. You know, Chargers on the road but favored. How good of a spot is this for them on the road against the Texans, favored by 3 points?
You know, there's something about this one that's very interesting, because as bad as the Texans have looked at points this season, I was watching the Chargers injury report all week long. And while I know people play in playoff games, I'm just concerned that O-line, there were 3 members of the O-line, including Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater has been top 3 tackle against pressure this whole season long. So that makes me a little bit worried, because we know that the Texans bring the 2nd highest pressure rate in the league. They're coming for you. And then their corners, they're the guys in the back are good. Derek Stingley Jr. and of course Kamari Lassiter. So I'm a little bit concerned, because it feels like one where everyone's like, oh, Chargers should roll. They've been playing so well, and they absolutely have. But we've also seen, you know, if you're looking at what's gone on with Justin Herbert, you know, even he's had a clean pocket to operate from. He hasn't thrown an interception from a clean pocket. He's the only quarterback to do that. And he has 18 touchdowns from there, meaning he's not getting pressured a ton.
The next game following that, Steelers and Ravens divisional matchup. It's a fairly big postseason here for Lamar Jackson, who could win another MVP this year. Steelers have been reeling here towards the end of the year. How do you see this one shaking out?
Yeah, this one to me feels like one where, like, if George Pickens can pull it together, I would feel a little bit different about it. But last game, drops, it felt like he was making what coaches that I've studied under call mental errors, you know, where he's running the wrong route or getting frustrated and like is, you know, not harnessing his emotions in a way that's like super helpful. And then sometimes Russell Wilson will maybe do things like run the football, and so clock management, not great, but like, you know, it feels like a spot where, you know, if any coach could do it, it's probably Mike Tomlin, but I just think that the Ravens and how well their defense is playing, and now that you get Kyle Hamilton actually playing safety, yowzas, look out.
All right, so Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, with us right now, and Jon and Jim. We've got Super Wildcard Weekend, 6 games. Those are the Saturday games. There's 3 on Sunday, starting with the Bills and Broncos from Orchard Park. I mean, the Bills, are favored by a good total here. The Broncos have not been in the postseason in forever. Are they happy to be in, or is this going to be a game?
Probably both. I mean, I think at some point you have to remember, like, the Broncos, of all of the teams in the playoffs this season, they're the ones that are playing with house money the most. I think they were actually, going back to preseason win totals, they were slated to be 4th in the West. 4th. Like, more wins were projected for the Raiders than for the Broncos with Sean Payton. Like, that's wild. So point being is, I think sometimes that can help you because you don't have a lot of expectations. And with Bo Nix, he's played a lot of football, but he also doesn't know what he doesn't know, right? Like, this moment is probably a very big deal for him, but it's not something he's probably being like, oh, I'll never get back to the playoffs. But they're probably a little confident, right? Cocky, maybe. So I'm not suggesting that, they're going to beat the Bills. I don't think that happens, but I can see a scenario where, at least in the first half, they come off looking stronger than people had anticipated, especially with that defense.
Eagles-Packers on Sunday afternoon. It was the opening game in Brazil this year. Packers, I think this is right, they were 1-5 against their division and 10-1 versus everyone else, which is crazy, but they are in the best division in football with 2 14-plus win teams. But I have the Eagles making the Super Bowl here, Cynthia. So how do you see this game playing out, and do you feel the same way about the Eagles?
I do. I mean, to me, the most damning stat, the dogs are really active today. I'm sorry.
No worries.
No, it's all good.
They've been cooped up inside for a couple of days now, so they're just like playing with each other nonstop. It's nothing I can do.
Totally fine.
The most damning stat is about how well Josh Jacobs has played, has totally corresponded to how well Jordan Love has done against the blitz, against pressure, against anything that causes turnovers. Well, where does Josh Jacobs do his damage? It's between the tackles. Between the tackles where he has the most yards after contact, the most touchdowns, etc. Like, that is where he is exceptional. Where does Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, where are they? They're right where that man likes to run. So it's just not a great matchup for what the things that keep the Packers ahead of, in good downs and distances. It just doesn't feel like a great situation, especially without Christian Watson. I know it's been kind of a roulette of who they can imagine passing the ball to, but it's not great when you're missing that guy.
Cynthia Freeland with us right now. Then the nightcap on Sunday, Commanders at Bucks. Obviously, a great year for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, going 12-5, and then Baker Mayfield 40+ touchdown passes. This seemingly on paper should be a really competitive game. Maybe the difference just being home field advantage, the reason why Tampa's favored.
Well, I also think a man named Antoine Winfield Jr. is a big deal in this one. Him returning from injury, which as of right now, he's technically listed as questionable. Same with Jamal Dean, he is their corner. Like, the secondary being a little bit healthier is a huge deal in this one, because as much as Jaden Daniels has been multiple, as great as he's been, they actually have the 5th widest offensive line formation, which has been a real advantage for him in the run game. That's part of how he got all those scrambling yards. There was space for him to run. Well, if you have to make Terry McLaurin think about it, get open a half a second even more, and Winfield Jr. could do that, then that could be the difference between a rookie quarterback who, again, he doesn't know what he doesn't know, but we have seen him get in a pickle when the defense has really blanketed his favorite receivers. So, and I say favorite receivers being Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz. So to me, Ertz is the X factor in this one. If they can get Ertz open, interesting. If not, not so interesting.
And finally, Vikings-Rams. This game moved obviously to Arizona because of the fires in LA. So no team has an advantage as far as home field goes here. Both are going to be on the road. How do you see this one playing out, Cynthia? And for me, tell me if you agree, like the disparity between quarterbacks here. I know Sam Darnold had a really good season, but he was shaky last week, real shaky against the Lions. And it's hard to, Stafford versus Darnold, like that to me is a one-sided affair.
Yeah, I mean, look, the interesting part to me, the thing I'm watching, I can't bet I'm an NFL employee, but if I were not an NFL employee, if you look at it, I think one of the X factors in this one is Cam Akers, the former Ram, now Viking. He had a 65-yard on the ground outing last time. This is his former team. There are emotions there because I don't know if you remember, but like there was always that weird thing with like Sean McVay being like, you know, it was like, I don't know the right way to do it. It's a weird ending between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So those things factored together to me were like interesting. Like, you know, this could be a spot where if you can get a little bit of help from a Cam Akers or, you know, if Aaron Jones is fully healthy, and I'm not sure he is, but, oh, by the way, the bet you should look at, or if you are not an NFL employee, is Cam Akers to have more than 23.5 rushing yards. Love that. So long story short is, I think the Vikings win this one. The last time they met, the advantage was the fact that they got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back very late in the actual day before they were playing. I think the defense for the Vikings is very, very good. I know it didn't look so great against the Lions. The Lions are a totally different offense, you know, totally different beast, and they played each other a lot. They have a lot of familiarity. I do think the Vikings win it this time around, in part because they don't let Sam Darnold get uncomfortable. He doesn't get pressured 60% of the time. I know the Rams can pressure up front great, but they can't back it up the same way. There's no Amik Robertson walking through their door for them in this one.
Is there a real world impact in your opinion? I mean, these are all human beings, and what's happened in LA impacts.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be, right? I mean, these are real people. We sometimes forget that, but I mean, they all have lives and
they're
families.
Real people. They breathe real air.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, I'm very fortunate that it's just the air quality that's so terrible near me, but they're much closer to those fires. You're not sleeping as well. You're not, you know, everything is impacted. Yeah. You're not breathing the same way you would normally be breathing. That can make you anxious. There's so many things impacted by it. Sean McVay's wife and son were at the facility after being evacuated. Like, those things matter. You know, it's all very, very important. And, you know, it's a cluster to move it. And it's, I wish that, you know, we could wait a week or whatever, but we obviously can't. You know, it's like, it's a bummer, but it is what it is.
No doubt about it. We're thinking about you, Cynthia. Again, be safe. And again, the people in Southern California that have been impacted. And we're excited for football. We really are. Obviously, Super Wild Card Weekend this weekend. Let's catch up again next week as we get closer towards a Super Bowl. But thanks for hopping on as always.
Yeah, you got it. You guys have a great weekend.
All right. Be well. Cynthia Freeland again in LA, getting ready for Super Wild Card Weekend. I think it's a really good point on the Rams. Like, they're dealing with it. Like, you got a lot of players and personnel, right? Yeah. You have hundreds of people that report to that facility every single day. And can it be overcome? Yeah, it probably can, but you're asking a lot.
Because now what you got to do is, in your mind, you were ready and you're setting things up as if it was a home game, right?
And now it's not.
So now you have to completely change everything last minute and do everything as if it were a road game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's difficult because the Vikings have been preparing all this week for a road test.
Right.
Like, they have all their stuff ready to go. And they know that they're on the road. The Rams were like, okay, we're going to be home. We have this. I'm sure there's like little minute details on game days and through the week that they do that it's knowing it's a home game. And now you had to completely change it last minute.
Yeah.
That is tough. And the Rams aren't like a juggernaut team, so they cannot like overpower you with their talent. But, you know, I talked to JB Long. It's like, you know, Rams are kind of clicking here. And how much does this affect them?
I just think it's intriguing. I think it's a very good game, and I just think everything going into it is going to be really interesting to watch. Ohio State leads Texas 7-0, and they're out at midfield. It may be lopsided, which wouldn't be shocking the way Ohio State is playing, but man, Ohio State already looks well-oiled.
Is Texas going to like stop them?
I don't know if they will. They've got no pressure on the quarterback, and they've had no answer through the air or on the ground. And Ohio State, again, leading 7-0 out at midfield, trying to extend that lead. On the other side, we started the show by listening to Ken Rosenthal talking about the Padres infighting in the organization. What impact is it having on the organization? You'll hear from Ken Rosenthal coming up. We're here until 6 on Jon and Jim. All right, so don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals or paperwork or waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as a day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off all their credit cards, a couple of cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 a month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 619-207-4336, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free quote now with no hard credit pull. 619-207-4336, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Welcome back to the third anniversary of Jon and Jim on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760.
All right, hit us up on that talkback mic. Just open the free iHeartRadio app. You can listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap the little microphone icon next to the play button. You can leave a 30-second talkback. Jon and Jim with you, the 3-year anniversary show. We've got a special Jim's Back page coming up, I'm sure.
Oh, very special, Jon. Stay tuned.
We may have something that impacts the future of the Pac-12 coming up at 5:30. And I have some sound
perfect
that supports it. And Brent's going to grab that. He still has time.
Must be nice.
I do want to hear from Ken Rosenthal, but I can't hear from Ken Rosenthal without Brent.
Womp womp.
He's coming back. He's coming back. Brent's making his way in.
Just a U-turn.
All right, this is Ken Rosenthal.
You like that meme,
all right?
Brent, of the Simpsons meme where you just go out the door and come right back in.
Put your hat on. Yeah. All right, this is Ken Rosenthal. Will the Padres' current infighting in the organization affect their ability to land free agents?
I don't know. And I don't know that players really care about the infighting if they're getting the offers. But What have the Padres done this offseason? They haven't done anything. Now, maybe that's just the normal course of their offseason. That's what their front office would tell you, that, hey, opportunities have not arisen the way they have in the past. They have certain obligations. Obviously, they were never going to go too crazy this offseason because of all the money that is already on the books. The question is, with the lawsuit between Peter Seidler's widow and his brothers going on, how does that affect the perception of the team with people like Roki Sasaki, people who might be considering extensions with them, like a Jackson Merrill? How does this affect the team long term? Does it ultimately result in the team getting sold? These are the questions we raised in the article, and there are no answers right now. The Padres will tell you, and they told us, that things are normal, that they're operating business as usual, that in their opinion, at least some of the people there and some of the people within the industry that we spoke to as well, that the claims made by Peter Seidler's widow, Sheila Seidler, are not very meritorious. All right. Now, that's their opinion. She, of course, would have a different opinion. That's why she's suing. But if that's the case, and then ultimately the brothers retain control of the team and it is business as usual, then really, I wouldn't say much ado about nothing, because there's certainly concerns here, but it becomes a lesser issue. There are people, though, in the industry, one agent we quoted in particular, who said, hey, man, nothing good ever comes out of something like this. And I would suggest that is true. You go back to the Angelos family in Baltimore. They had a similar circumstance. Remember, one brother and Angelos's widow suing, or yes, another brother. She was his wife at the time. Peter was still alive. And that ultimately, I don't know if it affected the operation of the team, but that team wasn't spending money anyway. This team has been spending money. This team has really built a tremendously successful franchise in the last 5 or so years. And you wonder now, what does this mean? Are they going to trade Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz? Are they going to hang on to these guys and try to win with them? We don't know. And those are baseball decisions that might be independent of this entirely. At the same time, these are all fair questions to ask. What is going to be the ultimate effect here of this lawsuit and this infighting between the people who are related to Peter Seidler?
The effect of this lawsuit, it's not going to show up in the weeks to come. It's going to show up in the years to come, potentially. You know, in the immediate right now, I'm hard pressed to think that Roki's decision is going to be fully affected by this. Do you think it's going to be fully affected by this?
I don't think fully, but is it affected at all?
Fair point.
That's my question. No, it's not fully affected. I would agree with that.
But if and when Roki chooses a team that's not the Padres, and during his press conference, I'm not going to say he's going to mention the Padres. I don't think he would, but he mentions, I picked here because the ownership is, stable. Everything, the front office is stable and the ownership is stable. Then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put 2 and 2 together.
Right.
I
mean, the day we heard of the lawsuit, I got really skeptical of Roki. As the days pass, I'm certainly willing to consider them as a viable candidate. I don't think their odds have gotten better. And they already, according to most, now nobody really knows anything legitimate on Roki, but it didn't sound like they were the true front runner. They may have been among 2-3 teams he was seriously considering. And again, I don't think they're out because of this, but I don't think they've got a better chance, certainly, because of this. So I'm just skeptical. I'm not saying no. I've gotten cold feet this week on Roki because of the lawsuit.
I don't think the lawsuit or the fact that, no one knows who Jon Seidler is, or the fact that Matt Seidler has now got this prominent role in this franchise and he's like, I don't know, whatever, right? If they offer Michael King tomorrow a 5-year, $150 million contract to be, to stay here,
like, oh,
do you think Michael King's gonna be like, you know what? I don't know if I'm gonna take that.
No, he's in.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you offer Jackson Merrill a $250 million contract extension,
which they shouldn't. That's crazy money. Yep.
I'm just throwing a number out, but $200 million, right? Or whatever the number is. Corbin Carroll money.
Yeah.
You think Jackson Merrill's be like, you know what? The ownership, I don't know.
No, you're right.
Now, Juan Soto did not accept his $450 or $500 million offer from the Nationals because of the ownership issues there. But I don't buy that. I think Juan Soto always wanted to go to free agency. And guess what? He won. He got He got what he was looking for in free agency, almost $1 billion.
Right.
So again, if whoever's in charge here writes a check for these guys and it's big money and they go to Michael King, like, look, X person in the front office, John, said we were ready to go. Here's a contract. Do you think Michael King's going to sit there and be like, well, there's a lawsuit going on? Or is he going to look at the money and be like, okay.
Yeah, but do you think that's going to happen? No. Everything we know about where they are right now.
Yeah.
How surprised would you be if they really reached into the coffers and made a really aggressive extension offer to Michael King? I mean, I guess you always leave it out there as a possibility. I do think it's possible. But are they going to look for like the hometown discount deal? Like, are they going to throw out a deal to Michael King that is just okay? Or are they going to give him what's legitimate and fair and will keep him from going to free agency? Like, I'd be shocked if it was that over-the-top deal for King. That, like, hey, they agreed on a 5-year $150. No, maybe they will give him an extension offer, but maybe it'll be below market rate. 5 for $90.
The more time passes here, and then seeing what happened with the arbitration stuff, like, if they don't even attempt to re-sign him long-term, and
you have to,
and they go to arbitration with King, yeah, that's a problem.
Right. That's where you're starting to, that's an indicator right there. If they go to arbitration with King,
and then they don't at any point this season attempt
to extend
him. And you know, for me and you, like, we just got to go off what the reporting is. So, you know, Kevin and Dennis and AJ and whoever else is down there, like, those are the people that are going to have to find out if the organization is actively or will actively, because right now Kevin says it's not, but are they and will they eventually try to extend Michael King? I know they want to. That's what Kevin says. They want to extend Michael King, of course. But it's a big difference from wanting something to acting on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. All right. A potential update that could factor into the future of the Pac-12. Could is the key word. Could. Plus Jim's back page. Just the third. Of course, we would get a story like this in the 3rd anniversary edition of Jon and Jim.
I'm just going to let you go next segment.
Yeah, you can take 10 minutes. Go get cookies. Jon and Jim.
Okay. This update's brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Cotton Bowl underway in Texas. Ohio State leads Texas 7-0. 10:40 left in the first half there. Winner of this game moves on to the national championship to take on Notre Dame. And tomorrow morning, San Diego State takes on New Mexico, 10 a.m. tip time. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. And following that on the station, it'll be Chargers and Texans. The fully electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz is innovation on a magnificent scale. Available with the epic 56-inch touch-sensitive Hyperscreen. The vehicle is all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQS.
Congrats to Jon and Jim. It's the 3rd anniversary of the show, where the suggested gift is leather. Never mind. Back to the show.
Make sure to check out the all-new or the I-new iHeartRadio app. Available now, wherever you get your apps. No, not for me. I don't think I have availability for the app. I like how that music just stopped. So I have 23 app updates.
Okay.
And when I click on app updates, I scroll through here, guys, and I don't see iHeart. And Jim even looked at my app yesterday and confirmed that for whatever reason, I don't have the new app. I don't need it. I like the app the way it is. I still use it every day.
Right, but you want the new app.
I want.
Say something.
You said it.
No. If you haven't noticed, we are now streaming on Instagram Live. The show. Nobody's doing it. But people are, because people on Instagram are asking us questions.
Are they? Yeah. How do you watch it on your browser like that?
Can I open up our Instagram page?
Well, I want to do that.
Yeah, it's probably
okay.
Anyway, the more you know. So on Instagram, Brad Mazey, I think he might have gotten you and I mixed up, because he says, "Hey Jim, where's the best vegetarian burrito in San Diego?" And I'm like, I don't know, bro.
He said, "Where's the best vegan Chinese restaurant?"
Yeah, that's a you question.
Hey, Jon and Jim. I don't know, but I've been to one that was amazing once in, man, there was an amazing vegan Chinese place. I want to say OB. Have you ever been to a vegan Chinese place? No. Why would you?
Why would I go? No.
Right. You wouldn't.
No, never.
Just Google it.
Okay.
What is that? Yeah. Anyway, we're on Instagram. Is what you're saying. We're
orange
streaming
chicken
live.
literally just said oranges in it. There's no chicken.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like,
wait, why is it that now everyone's coming in to Instagram? Because we're talking about it?
Because I just talked about it. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Power
crazy.
of media, dude.
Crazy how things work. So we're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on the iHeartRadio app. We're streaming on Instagram. We're on AM 760 in your cars. Bro,
yeah, that is pretty cool.
Bro, we're everywhere.
It's pretty cool. And again, if you follow us right now on Twitter or Instagram, we'll follow you back at Jon and Jim. So follow us. Open up the apps. Open Twitter at Jon and Jim. JONANDJIM. We'll follow you back, or open up Instagram at Jon and Jim. JONANDJIM.
All right, Jon.
Okay.
Go.
So the Pac-12 is still looking for at least one more member, right? And the Mountain West has been pursuing expansion. They just added a recent program, Northern Illinois, for football only. This has to be tied to either Mountain West or Pac-12 expansion, right? This is the president of Sacramento State, who I think has ties to San Diego State, because I think maybe his wife either works there or is a professor there or has worked there. His name is Dr. Luke Wood. Okay. He is the president of Sacramento State. This was actually earlier in the week. He provided an update on Sacramento State's new stadium and also a possible move from FCS to FBS. Listen to this.
Stadium, basically you're going to start to see renovations to the stadium this upcoming season. You'll already see some things. That's going to be updating what we have in place, and then you're going to start to see the actual build out of the new stadium beginning the following year. So we're talking about fast timeline. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, is this happening in like 2030, 2029? Like, what is it? No, this is happening now. Like, we're doing it. And we got a good plan of action in terms of getting there.
Just the moving from FBS to FBS, is there any update with that? Is it strictly Pac-12 and Mountain West, or are we looking at all in other conferences?
Oh, we got some exciting stuff coming, but I can't announce it yet.
Okay.
But within the next several weeks, you're going to hear some stuff that we got cooking. I will just say this. The community wants us to be FBS. we will be FBS, and we will be FBS very soon.
So we will be FBS.
Must be nice.
He said there'll be an exciting announcement potentially. I think he's in a few weeks. Like, that's not long off. Now, I'm not saying it's tied to the Pac-12. I don't know. And I'm not saying it's tied to the Mountain West. I don't know. And maybe there's other options. We've talked about the Tulanes and the Memphises. We've had all these conversations for months on end. But when you hear that from the president of the university, doesn't he sound pretty confident that they're going to end up playing FBS football? If you're playing FBS football, you're not going as an independent. You're going to be in a league. There's basically only 2 Western leagues. You're either going to the Mountain West or the Pac-12. I mean, Sacramento State, we've talked about them a little bit over the last few months. I mean, they've made some investments. They're upgrading stadiums and arenas. Are they ticketed for FBS, Mountain West, or Pac-12 soon? It seems like it.
Wasn't it Adam Schefter? Was it Sac State?
Yes.
He's like, they got $50 million in NIL money.
Yeah, remember? And that was the back and forth with Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, they don't have $50 million. He's like, stick to coaching. Your team's not good.
Yeah, and eviscerated him. And
right.
then Gottlieb lost another game. Yeah, I'm still on the Memphis bandwagon, like for the Pac-12, because when their AD essentially said, like, look, yes, we are staying here in our conference right now, but like things could change, like this. I didn't feel like hearing from the Memphis AD, like it was 100% set in stone that there was no chance they could join the Pac-12, eventually.
Okay, let me ask it like this. Most likely to least likely next team to join the Pac-12. I'm going to give you 3 schools. Memphis, UNLV, who kind of doubled down on the Mountain West, so I don't know if that rules them out or not. Mm-hmm. So Memphis, you're right. I mean, they kind of said they're looking for a better offer, so we don't really know where they stand. UNLV, coming off good football seasons, or Sacramento State in the state of California, keeps you geographically really aligned. You're just staying in the West at that point. What do you think is most likely? Memphis, UNLV, Sacramento State?
I don't know, but I'll give you the one I want.
You want Memphis?
I want Memphis.
Followed by UNLV?
Followed by UNLV.
Followed by Sac State. Yeah, Sac State's a bit of a project. I mean, I kind of like that it's a large market. It's in California.
Yeah, but they don't have much, like.
Schefter says they got $50 million NIL.
Okay.
And they're upgrading facilities. No, it's fair that they're further off. I mean, it feels like it's a process.
Yeah, I think UNLV eventually will be telling themselves behind closed doors, yeah, we probably should have left.
Right. Like they're going to be playing in the future in basketball and football, UTEP and Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois has been good, but you could be playing Boise State and San Diego State and Oregon State and Washington State.
Yeah.
Why are you playing UTEP?
And I'm just thinking about like the facilities for the Pac-12. I mean, if UNLV's in it, you get an NFL quality facility.
That's right.
In Las Vegas. And the Mountain West Conference tournament's held in Vegas every year in their arena. So like, to have every year potentially the Pac-12 title game be played in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, I think would be pretty cool.
I think the other school I should have put in that list was Texas State.
Okay.
People have speculated on the Pac-12. Again, is it the sexiest possibility? Probably not. Is Memphis more appealing for fans? Yeah, it is. Is UNLV more appealing? Yeah. But Texas State actually might be more appealing than Sacramento State. They're already in FBS, and they're already winning 6+ games.
I want a name. I don't want
Texas State.
No, I don't want Texas State, and I don't want Sac State.
What do you want? Ohio State?
Yeah, I want Michigan.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I found that interesting. I mean, that's the president of the university. So the president is going to be dialed in.
Those are some big words you got to live up to there, buddy.
It's like in a few weeks we're going to have some exciting news. I mean, that's a very strong statement.
Joining the SEC.
Right. Yeah, Sac State's in the Big Ten, I guess. All right. Anyway, something to keep an eye on. I think for Aztec fans, it's interesting, and for Pac-12 football fans, because they're still waiting. They need at least one more, and there could be 2 more, but they need at least one more.
Yes.
All right. So again, 3rd anniversary edition of Jon and Jim. And we're going to have a special back page for you on the other side. Very, very special. Jim's back page coming up on the other side. If you haven't followed us on social media today, we'll follow you back at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM on both Twitter and Instagram. We're here until 6 p.m. Jim's back page will come your way next. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the 3rd anniversary of Jon and Jim on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760.
Speaking of the Aztecs, we've got you covered tomorrow beginning at 9 a.m. Pre-game coverage, myself, Ben Fletcher on air, Ted Leitner from New Mexico, the Pid. Tough environment. San Diego State and New Mexico should be a really good game, nationally televised and right here on San Diego Sports 760. Big game for both the Aztecs and the Lobos coming up tomorrow right here on San Diego Sports 760. Hopefully you'll join us. Ohio State leads Texas midway through the second quarter, 7-0. It feels like Ohio State's winning by 30, but they're leading by 7.
Like at any moment, the dam could break open.
At any moment, they'll be leading by 30. I agree. There'll be a moment in this game they could lead by 30.
Right. It won't be good if that happens.
Texas has done
It'll
nothing.
be one of those deals. We're getting our car to drive home, and we'll get home, and it'll be like 28-7.
I know. Texas hasn't done anything. I mean, offensively, they are fortunate to be trailing 7-0. It feels like just watching this game.
Yeah.
3rd anniversary, Jim. We made it.
We made it.
The leather anniversary.
Okay.
From January 10th, 2022 to January 10th, 2025. One of the longest running sports talk shows in San Diego. Probably top 5, since there's about 5 shows right now in San Diego. So Jim's getting ready for his back page, I believe. He's been doing all this crunching of data and analytics and putting stories together.
No,
not really.
No.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Let's do it.
I would ask you this, but I know the answer. I'm going to ask you anyway. You ever watch The Wolf of Wall Street? That's a no.
Maybe. I don't know. What is it about?
Jordan Belfort, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Is it it's the meme I always see.
Yeah.
INF
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I've seen that.
Margot Robbie. How you doing?
Yeah. What about it?
There's a famous scene in the movie where
I'm not leaving.
He takes his watch and he throws it into the crowd of brokers at his business. And he's like, duke it out. And it was a big scene because he's basically like, here's my watch. Right. That watch from the movie sold today for a whopping $87,500. The watch is only worth $1,000.
Wow.
Now, only $1,000 is a very expensive watch.
Yeah, I was going to say it's expensive.
But it sold for almost $90,000. It's a watch from the 1980s. So they made sure to have a watch that the actual Jordan Belfort said he wore back in the 80s. And they got that, and they took that watch and they sold it for almost $90,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money right there. That is.
Did you know he got the idea to write that book from Chong?
No, I didn't.
When Chong got busted for sending like bongs and stuff in the mail, he was in the same prison as Jordan Belfort.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a really good movie. It's kind of crazy though, but it's good.
Forget about Super Wildcard Weekend. Just rewatch Wolf of Wall Street.
It's like on all the time.
Okay. We do both.
Yeah.
So Fanatics recently just came out today and said that they are to help the fire relief fund.
I saw this. Yeah.
Up in LA, they are what is it here? They have teamed up with their league partners and LA sporting teams to support impacted people of the wildfires. So you got, the Clippers, the Rams, the Angels, LAFC, the Ducks, the Dodgers, the Lakers, the Kings, the Chargers, LA Galaxy. Basically every single sports team in LA is teaming up with Fanatics to release LA Strong memorabilia and gear.
With
all proceeds going to the American Red Cross and the LA Fire Department Foundation.
Things you love to see.
Yeah. So, anything that helps, donating any money helps, $20 here, $20 there. Right. But again, it's going to take way more.
It's going to be an incredible recovery
than just a couple
effort.
$1,000.
It's going to be I don't even know where you start.
I don't either, honestly.
Yeah. I don't even know.
I don't even want to
start.
Just think about how much time and effort that's going to take, because it's going to take a long time.
I mean, you're talking about a I don't even know how long. What are we talking about? A decade for some of this?
So the fires back in my hometown that ravaged an entire like neighborhood.
Right.
Where that was back in 2017, I want to say.
Right. So 8 years ago.
Yeah. And burned down like a Whole Foods and restaurants and everything. It was wild.
Yeah.
A hotel it burned down.
Wow.
It was right next to a hospital up north. And
did it burn the hospital?
It did, yeah. Some of the hospital. They had to evacuate. They are still rebuilding those areas, and an entire community on the hill that burned. Like every time I go home and I drive over that hill, I still see houses being built. And that was
2017.
2017.
And I mean, the amount of land we're talking about in LA County, like Pacific Palisades specifically,
this is way bigger than the Northern California fires.
I mean, we're talking about blocks upon blocks upon blocks,
hundreds
upon
and
blocks.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes.
I think it's thousands upon thousands.
Really?
I do.
Probably,
I mean, I just don't even know. I mean, even the cleanup process, that must entail so much effort and time and logistics. It's going to be incredible. And we're not even anywhere near that. And we're still trying to contain fires, you know?
It's like not even 10% contained yet.
Yeah, the Palisades fire. Yeah, as of today, yeah.
Wild. Switching gears, no easy way to switch gears after that. But we all know that Coca-Cola is like my go-to soda.
Dude, Jim's back page.
I know.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Fires. Coca-Cola. That's
right.
Anyway.
That's how you typically end with the bummer stuff.
Yeah. Or start with it. Yeah.
No, don't start with it because that's still a bad transition.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Again, no easy transition. But Costco is a Pepsi like brand place. They all of their getting the thumbs up from Usher. You like Pepsi? You do?
Oh, okay.
I'm a Coke guy.
I like Pepsi.
I love Coke. Nope, Usher hates Coke. But I'm a big Coke guy. And Brent brought this to my attention. Coke, it seems like, is going to be making its way to Costco for their fountain drinks coming soon. That's a big change. Like, you know, some people are like Usher back there, Mike Usher. He's like, I'm a big Pepsi guy. For me, I prefer Coke over Pepsi. I'll still drink Pepsi.
Sure.
I'm not against it. But there are people out there that are like,
either or. A lot of people.
And Costco ain't some small business.
No, not at all.
So you go to Costco, if you're big on Pepsi and you expect to get a Pepsi at their fountains.
All I wanted was a Pepsi.
Right. So get ready for potentially Coke to be at their soda fountains here.
That's a pretty big story because Costco is such a big retailer.
Right. It is. Yeah. I like Mexican Coke. Mike is texting me right now.
Oh,
I like the bottled, like the glass Cokes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Glass Cokes are my favorite, top of the list. They just taste different. They're better. Yada yada. So
yada.
There we go. How's this game 7-0 with 4
Still
minutes left to play
7-0. Yeah, 7-0 Ohio State.
I feel like we're watching last night's game.
It's going to eventually explode here.
I think it will.
It's not going to stay 7-0.
No, I mean Texas can't move the football, which has been a problem.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like that's a key part of this thing, moving the ball forward,
scoring points.
It's a little bit like the Padres at the end of the year. Like you're gonna have to score, and the Longhorns have not. I'm shocked it's 7-0 though.
Say they're shut out at halftime. John, is Manning starting the second half?
I don't know enough about that dynamic. I don't know enough about it. I don't watch a lot of Texas. Maybe we see him at some point.
I just didn't know because they would have been shut out, and it's win or go home.
Maybe he gets to drive. I don't know.
They bring him in for like special running plays in the red zone. Like
he's their change of pace.
Yeah, they don't really bring him in to be like the full-time QB to go out there.
They need a change of pace.
Well, what do we have here?
We have an overthrow.
Dude was getting held.
What do we have there, John?
What's that?
So we have an overthrow.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
All right, so exciting weekend of NFL action. Super Wild Card weekend. We're back Monday at 2 p.m. We'll react to San Diego State basketball. Will the Padres do something over the weekend?
My guess is no.
Okay. Next week, is it the week of Roki? Almost.
Kind of.
It's the 13th on Monday.
The 15th.
He can sign as early as the 15th. The belief is he won't.
Here's what's going to happen. So I'm going back up north for one of my buddy's birthdays next weekend. I'm not missing any shows, but I'll be gone the 18th, the 19th, and Martin Luther King Day, the 20th.
Oh, he's signing all 3 of those days.
That's what I was going to
go.
And
we're doing 100 wrap-up shows.
Like
so
while I'm gone up north, he's going to sign one of those days.
You know, at that MLK Day, that 20th is maybe it's that range, maybe it's the 21st. But yeah,
can you please sign on the 21st, Roki?
Yeah, because we're back on the 21st. Good point.
Please just
wait. Drop this.
Just wait till the 21st.
I can't deal with this.
What is Texas
doing?
Can't
deal with this. You're punting after a drop. All right. Thanks for being with us. Whether it's your first time with the show or you've been with us for all 3 years, we appreciate you. 3 years of Jon and Jim.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Right. Or time flies. The San Diego Sports 760. So if you missed anything today, you know where to find us. For Brent and Jim, I'm Jon. Keep it here. We'll see you tomorrow for Aztec basketball on San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.